The following is a special presentation of Extreme eSpeed TV, your new home for everything iRacing and eSpeed.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Coast to Coast Racing League. It is Thursday Night Thunder, presented by Gambler Motorsports. I am Travis Piercefield, joined tonight by John Hine, and we welcome you to Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder. John, we saw some exciting action on Tuesday night. We're back at it with Thursday Night Thunder, and tonight we come to Williams Grove Speedway.
Yeah, the Grove, big, fast track, nice big half mile. We were at a pretty quick track the other night there, just down the road. We're at least we're staying here in Pennsylvania, but just down the road there at Port Royal. But I tell you, Travis, we got a full field and then some, so this is going to be an action-packed race here. Some guys are going to end up going home out of this one.
So as they complete practice session out there, we're going to start with the small blocks, the 358s presented by Magnum Race Designs. And the field has jumped quickly. We've got 29 cars out there tonight, John. That's going to be full fields, full heats, and a lot of competitive racing for this small block series.
Yeah, and it's going to change the way guys race. You're in a heat race. You want to be in that top four, because when we do get to the heat races, the top four will automatically punch your ticket into that main event tonight. So then you don't have to worry about that B main, where if you have a problem, you may end up watching that A main sitting down there in the pits or up in the stands. So your mindset has got to be a lot different, even from qualifying. You want to get the best qualifying time you can. You want to make sure you're in that invert, because we do invert the top four out of every heat. When what I mean by that is if you qualify on the pole, you're going to start P4 in heat one. And that P4, like I said, that's the cutoff zone. So you're thrown to the wolves there, and got to defend that position and try to get out of that position to get into the A.
So to get us started here at Williams Grove, we've got the PA Posse pre-race show as we wait to kick things off here tonight at the Grove. We'll jump into our A&J Custom Creations point standings for the 358 small blocks. Nicholas Vickery won our season opener last week. Randy Shreves is second, 3 points back. Brian Lawson, 6 points back. Jeffrey Sharp is 9 points back. And fifth currently is Jeffrey Barker. He's 11 points back. It's early in the season here, and we're going to see who jumps to the top of the standings. Looking at our points leader, currently second fastest in practice. Brian Lawson's up there as well. Is there anyone that jumps out to you here as we get started with the small blocks tonight, John?
Yeah, I think we're going to see the usual suspects vying out for the win here tonight. Between them, I mean Isaac Salas, Nick Vickery. Looking down through this list here, Blake Chapman, Jeff Sharp, Brandon Templeton. The neat thing is, yeah, we're going to have a full field here tonight. But as I look down this list, you got about 10 guys: Alex Palmer, Butch Baker, who we saw win the other night, Zach Chapman, had wins last season. There's 10, maybe even upwards to 12 to 15 guys in here that have shots at winning this thing. And that is going to just mean nothing but excitement for us.
Well, we saw it Tuesday night when we were working together on here. Where you start in your heats and where you start in your feature can play a huge role in it, especially with these smaller engine cars. We saw, I think of Zach Chapman on Tuesday night, opening up that night. He started back in the pack. He was able to battle up, but it's really important, one, for qualifying to get that second row start in the heat, but then also to make up some ground in that heat race.
Absolutely, especially in the heat because the track is going to reset. You're going to have a lot of tack in it, and these cars are not the high power cars. Everybody is going to almost be full throttle and almost going the same speeds, which is going to make it incredibly difficult to pass. So, like I said, you've got to be up on the wheel from the get go. So, as soon as you take that green flag for qualifying, you're on. You've got to be going.
And with that, our ABR Setup Shop qualifying session is getting underway. Cars are making their way out on the track. Lots of cars out there to get us started. And we will start to put down some times and get some cars on the track from a competitive standpoint.
Yeah, it takes a little bit to get around here, almost mid 21-second lap. So yeah, they got a lot of time to think about how they're going to approach these corners. You're on the straightaways here for a very, very long time, it seems. So as they get up into those corners, they've got decisions to make, and choosing the wrong decision, making the wrong decision by just a few feet can mean the difference between you being in that invert and having a premium spot starting your heat race to being back in the pack and having an issue, much like what we saw Zach have on Tuesday night.
John, I felt like we had long front stretch, back stretch at Port Royal on Tuesday. Williams Grove puts that to shame.
Yeah, it really does. I don't remember what the lap times the other night were, but I do believe they were sub 20 second laps. So it's oddly enough the same size track, but you can see Port Royal is probably over a second faster than this track. They got a little more banking to play with too in the corners, and that has a lot to do with it.
So we have the small blocks presented by Magnum Race Designs. Next we'll have the big blocks, and then we'll end the night with our Chip Banger Racing super late models. On Tuesday, the track and where the preferred line changed depending on the series, John. How do you see that changing throughout tonight here at Williams Grove?
I think it's going to be the pretty. I mean, these are all heavier cars, big wide bodies and whatnot on them, and this time they're going to be chasing the track. You're not going to have a track that's going to dictate where the cars go fast. Early on, you're going to see guys fighting for that lower groove, maybe right down along the guardrail, the first heat race, and then by the end of that heat race, they'll probably be up like almost a half a lane. Eventually, I expect them to be from top to bottom in the corners. You can use any path you want through the corner.
So qualifying continues. We've got 27 of 30 cars with times out on the track. Currently sitting first, it's Brandon Templeton. He's our fastest. Nicholas Vickery, our point leader. Second, Runkle third. Chapman fourth, and Sharp fifth. Really looking like the fast times around here, John, are the usual suspects.
Yeah, absolutely. And those guys put practice in. Not that everybody else does not. They just they have a knack for driving these cars and are quick in them. So yeah, a lot of familiar names up front. It's good to see some new names up there though that we've seen really come on with performance of from a DV Runkle to a Jeff Sharp. And we see some new guys up there too with Logan Wentz. I think he's relatively new to the league. So going to be a fun night here.
So with that, qualifying will come to an end. Brandon Templeton will be our fastest. And John, they are gritting out on the track, and you've got our heat race number 1 presented by Langton Mechanical starting lineup.
Absolutely. Starting in the first row, heat number 1 here on the pole is going to be the 13 of Chris Alvey. To his outside will be Alex Palmerloo. Starting in the second row, it's going to be Jeff Barker and Brandon Templeton. Starting out back, the last row here tonight for the heat race number 1 is going to be Mr. Kevin Davis next to Bob DeGood.
So our night for Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder is about to get underway. It's going to be Chris Alvey and Alex Palmerloo bringing us to green and kicking off our night here at Williams Grove. As always, thanks for joining Coast to Coast Racing League on your Thursday night. As we're on the eve of another week completing here in the summer, there's no better place to be during night than a dirt track.
No, there's really not. And, you know, and you can get even a little bit of a sunset here, which is always nice. You always see Dean Reynolds post this on Facebook, so get one here too tonight.
So Alvey leads us to green. Palmerloo jumps to the outside, will take the lead through 1 and 2. Behind them, they're side by side. It's Brandon Templeton on the outside trying to make gains. Barker on the inside line.
Going through 3 and 4 here, it looks like the 397 of Alex Palmerloo has got this race well in hand here. 13 of Chris Alvey, though, is sitting for second, but the real battle is back there for that 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's your transfer position between Brandon Templeton, Jeff Barker, and Kevin Davis right now.
Templeton's trying to make a move on the 13 of Alvey for second. Behind him is that 513 of Barker. And currently it's Davis on the outside looking in, trying to get into that top 4 transfer spot.
Yeah, and he's kind of defending a little bit. You got Bob DeGood trying to peek his nose, a little contact there. But now you got Barker and Alvey side by side going here into turn 3.
Great racing action up front here at Williams Grove. As Templeton keeps trying to make something work on Palmerloo for the lead, unable to get up alongside him, but continues to put pressure on him and is not making it easy through 3 and 4, and he'll get beside him down the front stretch.
Yeah, Brandon got a great run through the middle of the corner there and is able to pull up and get a little bit ahead of him coming out of that corner, but Palmerloo's going to have a little bit of momentum coming out of the corner, and you grab that little bit of that lead back, but they continue to battle side by side right back down into 3 and 4 here.
And with that, Barker's been able to slide up into 3rd with Davis now in that transfer spot. It's currently the 13 of Alvey on the outside looking in. Templeton continues to make that inside line work, unable to clear Palmerloo, but will slide in front of him there.
Yeah, we got a new leader to the front, that 31 machine of Brandon Templeton.
All this battling, 2 laps left to go in Langton Mechanical heat race number 1 here at Williams Grove. They've stretched out single file now. Barker puts pressure on Palmerloo for second, with Davis right behind him. A small gap back to 5th place. With the top 4 transferring, they've started to separate from the rest of the field.
Yeah, and Chris Alvey will be in a pretty good spot for that B main. He's going to be, if he finishes right where he's at, he will be on the pole for that B main. And that's, if you're going to have to be in that race, I'd like to be in that front row.
And it's going to be Brandon Templeton, our first winner of the night in heat race number 1. Our finishing lineup for heat race number 1, it's Templeton, Palmerloo, Barker, Davis. Your transfers going to the B main will be Alvey and Bob DeGood.
Yeah, and heat race number 2 is staging right there on the front stretch. We're going to go through the lineup here. On the pole is going to be the 97 of Butch Baker, who got his first career C2C win on Tuesday night. We witnessed that, Travis, you and I, and out to his outside. It's going to be the 242 of Mark Antone Chagnon. That next row will be Logan Wentz and Nick Vickery. and last week's winner, Nick Vickery, that is. We'll see if stickers can go 2 for 2. And then starting in the third and final row will be the 33 of John Moreno and Gary Sigelkow.
So heat race number 2 presented by Magnum Race Design. Butch Baker did pick up that first career victory on Tuesday. As a fellow Michigan man, knew that was going to come eventually, John.
Yeah, we don't know if he's a Wolverines or Spartans fan. I'm sure that means one thing or one way or another to you anyway, being more of a Michigan guy than me, even though I was born in Michigan.
And with that, it's Baker and Shannon bringing us to green here in heat race number 2. Great battle there for those transfer spots as 3rd through 5th continue to battle. And that's the 0-0 of Vickery trying to make a line on that inside move. He'll get into Shannon for 2nd. And that will shake up the field also back in 5th and 6th, contact in 3 and 4 as well.
Yeah, the 25 at Sigelkow got a little hot going into 3 and then got into the 33 there and turned them around a little bit. So those guys are going to have to battle to see who's going to be on the outside front row in the B main if one of these guys up here, up in the top 4, do not get in any trouble.
So now it's all for positioning in that main event. Shannon makes a move on Wentz for 3rd. And it's Nicholas Vickery all over the back of Baker as we've got 6 laps to go. 5 now as they cross the start-finish line. It's really
I was going to say, Nick continues to be all over Baker's back bumper there.
And it's interesting, John. They're obviously running the lower lines there, but some drivers are able to make even a lower line to try to make a move on the guy in front of them.
Yeah, it's all about getting that nose to the inside there and kind of rooting them up and out. When I'm not saying by making contact, but kind of maybe taking that. They can't turn in quite as far as what they want to. Oh, Nick makes a mistake there, catches the inside wall, and that I believe that's going to be a pretty big lead to overcome here.
So 3 laps to go in our Magnum Race Design Heat Race number 2. We're at Williams Grove in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Top 4 have broken away from the rest of the field. 4 will transfer to the main event. The other 2 will fall in line in the B main. And Baker has a rhythm there now. Really, the top 4 are just all in line making laps at this point, as they are all safe without any mistakes here with 1 to go.
All 3rd place clips the inside wall on corner end, and that's going to hand that over to the 242 car. But, you know, Vickery is closed right back up here. Maybe he's got to see if he can do something here through 3 and 4 coming to the checkered. Oh, and Baker makes that mistake.
Baker makes the mistake. They're side by side, make contact. It's going to be Vickery at the line for the win in heat race number 2. That entry into 3, if you get too low, it'll make you slide up the track there. And we will check on our finishing lineup for heat race number 2. It's Vickery, Baker, Shannon, Wentz transferring. Morano and Sigelkow will have to race in the B main.
Yes, and Heat 3 is on the grid right now, out there in the front stretch. On the pole will be the 32 of Anthony Moreno. Next to him will be the number 9 of Brian Lawson. And then the second row here for this one is going to be Dean Reynolds and D.V. Runkle. And starting out back in the 3rd and final row is going to be Eric Tetriol and Michael Vitale.
So some guys currently sitting towards the top of the standings here. Runkle had a good run here on Thursday night last week with us. Dean Reynolds was solid as well last week. And the Steve King Foundation pace car pulls in off of 3 and 4. And it's going to be Lawson Morano leading us to green in heat race number 3, presented by 21 Designs. And we are green, 8 laps for heat race number 3. It's going to be Lawson jumping to the outside, taking the lead out of 2, as Morano battles him and now has Runkle right behind him.
Yeah, the top 3 are really close, and Runkle's got to check up a little bit not to get into Morano. Dean Reynolds is right there in the 4th and final transfer position, but I know he's not going to be satisfied being right there. He's already looking to the inside of Runkle. Runkle makes some mistakes, going to go high. That might even cost him his transfer spot. He's able to get back there in 4th, though.
So he's able to jump into Vitale before Vitale takes over that transfer spot. It's Reynolds now up to 3rd. Vitale still all over the back of Runkle for that 4th and final transfer spot, as we've got 6 laps to go.
It's a good battle back there for that final transfer position there, and Morano comes really close to getting into the back. Does a nice job staying off of the back of that 44 machine. This is such a tricky track, Travis, because you've got guys that, with these long straightaways, you're carrying so much speed at the end of them. If you've got guys on 2 different agendas, one that might want to drive deep in the corner, another one that might want to back their corner up to maybe stay lower, when you get those different agendas and all that speed at the end, you checkups and guys get turned real easy there.
As we watch, the top 5 have separated themselves from Trello. As Dean Reynolds continues, he's continuing to try find something to get by Morano, unable to do so, but they are still racing for that 4th and final spot between Runkle and Vitale.
Yeah, now you see a little contact between those guys, and that's just what I was telling you. Looked like Runkle wanted to use the bottom there, and where he had been running the top, lifted a little early, and the 213 got into the back of him.
They continue to battle. 2 laps to go. Up front, it's still Lawson over Morano and Reynolds. Morano now looking for some type of action to get past Lawson, unable to get up alongside him, but also not losing any ground on the leader as well.
And Dean Reynolds is right behind the 2 leaders, just saying, oh yeah, please, one of you guys make a mistake, I'll get another spot here.
And there it is.
Oh, and it cost him too.
They are able to go back. Runkle makes a move. It looks like Morano won't lose position. Neither will Reynolds, although he's got Runkle to his outside. As they come around 3 and 4 for the last time, it's going to be Lawson with the win.
Unbelievable. Those guys didn't lose any spots.
Great finish for heat race number 3. We'll take a look at that finishing order. Lawson, Morano, Reynolds, Runkle. On the outside looking in, it's Vitale and Eric Trello.
And now we're on to heat number 4. We got 5 total heats tonight, so nice big field of cars is getting us a lot of racing here tonight. But heat number 4 is going to look like this. On the pole is going to be the number 1 of Joe Canellis. To his outside is going to be the Ironman Greg Boydell. Starting inside, row number 2 is going to be Isaac Salas, and to his outside is going to be Blake Chapman. And starting in the 3rd and final row tonight is going to be David Tormasci, and to his outside will be Andrew Smith.
So they get going following that Steve King Foundation pace car. Heat race number 4 presented by Maurer Farm Management of Clarence, Iowa. So it's going to be Canellis and Boydell leading us to green here in heat race number 4. And as you mentioned, John, with our high car counts tonight, we will have a heat race number 5 tonight. As they make their way down the front stretch here at Williams Grove. And Canellis and Boydell bring us to green. Great start by Salas there in that 5 on that inside. He pulls away from 4th place, trying to make a move on the lead down the backstretch.
Isaac gets to the lead pretty quickly there in that number 5 machine, and Blake Chapman is trying to follow him right to the front there on the bottom, but he's not going to quite get there as quickly as Salas. In fact, he's going to fall all the way back into 4th here with Canales and Boydell holding down that 2nd, 3rd spot respectively.
Salas slides up in turns 1 and 2. He's able to save position as it's Salas, Canales, Boydell, and Chapman, your top 4 in the transfer spots.
And 2 different lines through that corner, Salas and Canales up high, and we see that once again with those guys up high, and then you got Blake Chapman on the bottom.
Seeing this group of leaders run quite a bit higher than we've seen in the first 3 heats.
Yeah, that's that chasing the track I was talking about in the pre-race. The track's going to change here, and you're going to have to change what you're doing in the car. You're going to have to change your line that you're probably running. You're going to change what you're doing with your hands. You're turning in maybe a little bit later, maybe a little bit sooner, depending on where you want to go in the corner. Your feet, your work on those completely different. Difficult track to get a hold of.
As we see Boydell kind of moving around the track, trying to get a move on Canales. Now he'll jump to the inside through 3 and 4 as Canales slides all the way up to the outside of the track there, and they're side by side down the front stretch.
Yeah, Boydell's rolling the bottom really, really well, and it looks like Boydell's a little bit better down there in 3 and 4, where Canales is able to hold serve here in 1 and 2.
Blake Chapman in the 20 has a great view of this battle for second as he is safely in that top 4 transfer spot currently. Watching Boydell on the inside, Canales on the outside, and our leader of Salas up ahead.
Yeah, Boydell overdrove the entrance to turn 3 last time, and that cost him a little ground, but he's trying to inch back up there to take over that 2nd spot.
So one more lap around Williams Grove. We'll watch Boydell continue to try to make a move on Canales. He'll slide up in 1 and 2. Chapman now looking to the inside of Boydell. Up front, it's the 5 of Isaac Salas. And heat race number 3, presented by 21 Designs, will go to Isaac Salas, winner of heat race number 4. Your results for heat race number 4: Salas, Canales, Boydell, Chapman, your 4 transfer drivers. Tamachi and Smith will be moving on to the B main.
And our final heat race is starting to take shape there on the front straightaway. On the front row for that is going to be the 098 of Enoch Bouchamp. Now to his outside is going to be the 518 of Joseph Grandy, and the 2nd row is going to be Zach Chapman, and next to him will be Jeff Sharp. And rounding out the field here for this final heat race on the back row is going to be Adam Flieger, and next to Dean Meitzler.
So the Steve King Foundation pace car will lead us around. It's our 5th and final heat race of the 358 small blocks. Heat race number 5 presented by Lynn's Huggables. And again, we have what looks like 5 drivers right now battling for a top 4 spot to avoid that B main Gambler Motorsports race coming up next, as the iRacing pace car presented by Steve King Foundation dives into the infield. And it's going to be Beauchamp and Grandy leading us to green in heat race number 5. Zach Chapman, great start by him on the inside, moving up alongside Grandy for 2nd. He'll even get up along the leader down the backstretch.
And Zach got a really nice run through 1 and 2. He's able to but he's not quite clear, and Grandy did a nice job there of moving up and giving Zach that room.
Beauchamp and Grandy both gave him plenty of space through 3 and 4 there. As they continue to battle for the lead, it's Grandy in 3rd watching this battle side by side, and there's contact on the backstretch. Grandy's going to be the one that gets punished for the racing here as he'll fall back to 5th. It's going to be Beauchamp jumping out to the lead. Zach Chapman will settle in second. Now it's Sharp and Flieger in the top 4 transfer spots.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Grandy. It looked like Zach just got in there a little hot, and for lack of a better term, Grandy helped him catch him and turn him, and he paid the price for it for sure.
And it all started about midway down the backstretch as there was contact between those top 3. As we've got 5 laps to go, coming to 4 laps to go, it's Chapman going to lead this lap. Beauchamp right to the outside of him as Sharp and Flieger have settled in as Grandy continues to try to catch up. And it looks like Grandy might catch up to the back of Flieger and have a chance of getting into a top 4 transfer spot.
That'll be a big break for him if he can do that. Bypass that B main with all these heat races is going to be really crucial tonight because there's only going to take 4. We're going to fill out 20 of the 24 starting spots here in the heat race. So you're going to have a lot of cars in that B main with only 4 spots up to grab. So, boy, I would want no part of that.
So they continue to, there's contact made as they've got 2 laps to go. Chapman and Beauchamp continue to battle, and if you look back there, it's Flieger now has company as Grandy's trying to get into that 4th transfer spot. Andy will, and then Flieger gets into the wall.
And Zach now is taking over the race lead here as he takes the white flag. 1 lap to go.
So it's Chapman, Beauchamp, Sharp, and Grandy, your top 4. Flieger got into the wall down the backstretch, so it broke away our top 4. These should be the 4 transferring into our main event tonight. And coming out of 4, it's going to be Zach Chapman, winner of heat race number 5, presented by Lynn's Huggables. And your heat race number 5 results look like this. It's Chapman, Beauchamp, Sharp, Grandy, Sharp and Grandy, your top 4. Flieger and Meitzer will go to the B main.
Yeah, and that B main's going to feature a 10-car lineup here, and like I said, we're only going to take the top 4. So other than that, if you're not in that top 4, you are going to watch that feature sitting either on top of your hauler in the stands, wherever the case might be. It's going to be really difficult if you got in trouble in one of those heat races and starting deep in the field here. But looking at the lineup here for the B main, it's going to be Chris Alvey on the pole. Next to him will be the John Moreno. Starting in the 2nd row will be Michael Vitale. Next to him will be David Tormasci. Starting in the 3rd row will be Adam Flieger. Next to him will be Bob DeGood. Gary Singelkow and Eric Tetriol will fill out row number 4. And starting shotgun on the field is going to be the 79 of Andrew Smith, and next to him will be the 49 of Dean Meitzler.
So the Steve King Foundation pace car will lead them around. It's going to be Alvey and Morano leading us to green. As mentioned, John 4 will transfer. Pace car dives on into the infield. They will make their way through turn 4 and down the front stretch here at Williams Grove. And we are green in the Gambler Motorsports B main at Williams Grove. That inside line has the advantage as they go through 1 and 2. Top 4 break away. It's Alvey, Vitale, Flieger, and Morano currently sitting in transfer spots.
Yeah, and a lot of contact there. 38 there, Flieger gets in trouble. That's going to put Bob DeGood up in that transfer spot. And I got to tell you, Travis, I'm in that one of those transfer spots. I'm trying to hold my own. Unless I'm in that 4th and final one, I might want to push to get the 3rd just so I have that buffer.
That 4th position out there on the track might be the hardest pass that will have to be made as we watch. It's currently Bob DeGood, Andrew Smith in 5th. And Singelkow back there in 25 are going to be chasing him down, trying to transfer in tonight's A main.
Absolutely.
While that's happening for the transfer spot out front, it's Alvey and Vitale with a gap on third and fourth place. As Albie continues to lead here, we've got 7 laps to go. Single file, at least for the top 7 around the track. Bob DeGood continues to hold on to that 4th transfer spot as Vitale makes a move on Albie out of 4 for the lead, unable to get up alongside him.
Yeah, he's really pushing hard to take over that top spot, and Albie's doing a nice job of hanging on to him, but they're going to be side by side going into turn 3 here.
Vitale really making that outside line work. He's able to clear Albie. Albie was continuing to run that inside line, which we've seen the track change since the earlier heats, John. Can you kind of talk about if you're in an early heat and then end up in the B main, how much the track can change between those 2 races for you?
Yeah, dramatically. The things that you did in that heat race are not going to work here. You're going to have to, if you want to run that bottom, you're going to have to lift a little bit earlier going into the corner, because you're not going to have any tack to kind of catch it and help turn the car. So that's the first thing. If you're running the top, well, the top didn't exist in the heats. If you're in that, let's say that first heat, everybody was fighting for the bottom. So you're going to have to go out there and try a lap or 2, make sure you can figure out how to keep your car, keep the momentum up. These are the lower powered of the big block. Oh, and there's trouble. That's got to move Andrew Smith up into 4th there.
So Morano gets into the wall in 3 and 4. That opens up the door for Bob DeGood and Smith advance up into that top 4. Bob DeGood now 1+ safe. Back on the backstretch, Single Cow has contact as well. We've got 3 laps to go, and the pressure to get into that top 4 has increased.
Absolutely. You only got a couple laps here to get it done, but going back to the track changing, yeah, you've got to really stay on it and be paying attention. And what I do if we're out for that pace lap, you're looking at the track conditions, and if you've got enough laps in these cars and enough laps at this track, you kind of know what to do. It's going to be a little bit different than what you do in the heat race, but most of these guys have a lot of laps in these cars and will know what to do as we get the white flag.
So Vitale gets the white flag. He's got a 2.5 lead over Albie. Here in the B main presented by Gambler Motorsports, the top 4 have pulled away from the rest of the field here as they make their way through. It's going to be Vitale, your winner in our Gambler Motorsports B main.
Andrew Smith did get around Bob DeGood for that 3rd spot there, so nice run for Andrew to make his way up into 3rd there.
And our B main finishing lineup, Michael Vitale, our winner, Albie 2nd, Andrew Smith, as you mentioned, got up to 3rd, Bob DeGood settles into 4th, and then those going home tonight, 5th through 10th. And with that, we have warm-ups. It's our Flatline Racing Bodies intermission warm-up time. So we had 5 heats. We sent some guys home already. What are you looking forward to here as we shift into A main for our 358 small blocks, John?
I'm going to be watching to see what guys are running where on the track. You got some guys that I think are going to be able to pull that bottom off. I'm looking there at the bottom, and you should be able to get your left tires on there and get the car around the corner pretty good still. Then you're going to have guys that are going to just rip the lip, be up top. It'll be interesting to see exactly who does what and who can make it work.
So they make laps here in Flatline Racing Bodies intermission. And really, after watching the heat races, John, I think you were correct in your PA Posse pre-race analysis of I think there's 10 to 12 cars out here that could come away with a win tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And that's really been the case about every time these guys take to the track. This is a really competitive field that fixed setup, which means everybody's basically running the same equipment out there. You're looking at the lap times right now. You got Vickery, who's a little bit quicker than everybody else, which Zach Chapman now joins him up there. But those 2 guys would have to be early favorite. But look at the log jam with the guys in the 21.7s. You got quite a few guys that are separated by less than 1/10 of a second. That is going to make for some close racing on very difficult track. When it gets slicked up like this, getting into those corners can get pretty sketchy pretty quick.
So here in warm-ups, Vickery Chapman Grandy jumps up to third, Dean Reynolds fourth, and Boydell fifth. But as you mentioned, very tight with their laps. If we've got under a minute left here in this intermission warm-up session.
Yeah, and the laps keep falling too. I see. Now you got a few more guys into the 21.6s. So yeah, that whole cream rising to the top. I'm looking at the names at the top of that board. Grandy now goes all the way to the top. That's a newer guy, so that's good to see him up there. But Vickery, Chapman, Reynolds, Boydell, Templeton, Salas, a lot of usual suspects there. You know, boy, this is gonna be wide open. I'm looking at these lap times. I would say you got about 13 cars, all within probably pretty close to the same speed, which would put them, you know, as someone that could be very easily take this win.
I think of Grandy, you know, he made contact, got shuffled back in his heat race, so probably not starting as high in the A main as he wanted to, or probably should be off of speed. He will be a fun one to watch here in tonight's A main.
Yeah, anytime I've ever done that and had a problem in the heat and come out and then pace this warm-up session, and I'm all the way knowing I'm buried deep in the field, boy, I got to take a deep breath at that point and just say, okay, I got to be real patient here.
Well, and we talk about Grandy, he will start 20th, so obviously a fast machine he has. He's actually back there 18th through 20th, some fast cars. Speaking of our starting lineup, John, you've got our starting lineup for tonight's A main.
Yep, starting right up front on the pole is going to be Brandon Templeton. And his outside is going to be old Stickers at 00, Nick Vickery. Starting in the second row tonight is going to be Brian Lawson. Next to him will be Isaac Salas. A couple of teammates there occupying that second row. Then the third row, it's going to be Zach Chapman, Alex Palmaloo. Starting in the fourth row is going to be Butch Baker and Anthony Morano. Starting in the fifth row will be Joe Canellis and Enoch Bouchamp. Then the next row is going to be Jeff Barker and Marc-Antoine Chednom. Dean Reynolds and G.J. Boydell will occupy the next row, followed by Jeff Sharp and Kevin Davis. Logan Wentz is going to be starting 18th and Logan Wentz and D.V. Ronco will be taking the next row up. Starting 19th, it's going to be Blake Chapman next to the before mentioned there, Joseph Grandy, who paced our hot laps there. So it'll be a fast car way back there, a couple of fast cars. After those guys, though, it's going to be Chris Alvey and Andrew Smith, followed by Bob DeGood. So Andrew Smith and Bob DeGood will be in that final row.
Our A main starting lineup presented by We Let the Dogs Out for you as we get ready for Magnum Race Designs 358 Small Blocks A main here at Williams Grove. The Steve King Foundation pace car dives into the infield. It's going to be Templeton, Vickery, Lawson, and Salas, our top four, leading us to green. 30 laps around Williams Grove Speedway for this A main event. And it is green at Williams Grove. Templeton, great start for him on the inside.
Front stretch. And Boydell just rolled down the front stretch there.
So our Malcolm Mills mill writing replay. Looks like he was almost still warming up the tires and made contact right at the start-finish line.
Yeah, those cars don't drive very straight and whatnot. And it looks like Davis just fired a little bit before he did and made just enough contact to turn Boydell on the inside wall.
So that is our first caution of the night. We'll reline them back up. It's going to be Boydell now falling back to 24th.
The nice thing is about a track like this is the pace laps take so long, so if you do have to take that proverbial tow, you can get out of here without losing a lap.
So it's Templeton and Vickery up front. Nicholas Vickery was our winner last week at I-55 to kick off our summer season.
Pace lights do go out on the pace car here this time, the Steve King pace car, and we got one to go here. And I do believe they are going to start single file because they did not get a whole lap in.
So single file it is for Brandon Templeton out front. You got to think there's some guys back in the pack licking their chops to get this green to make their move here on this start and try to get as much ground made up as possible. Steve King Foundation pace car dives on in. Templeton makes his way through 3 and 4. And we are back to green at Williams Grove. That high side still the preferred line for a majority of the guys as they get going. And that high line continues to move up and up, John.
Yeah, it does. And eventually, especially over in 3 and 4, it's going to be getting to where the guys have to crack their throttle to stay off of that outside wall. And when that happens, that's what's going to bring that inside line back to viability. Guys are going to be able to roll out, and be able to keep their RPMs up while the guys on the outside are letting up to make sure they don't get into that wall.
We watch Chapman try to get alongside Salas as the caution comes out for the second. This one looks like Joseph Grandy.
And D.B. Runkle was involved too. Grandy just got in a little bit hotter than what Runkle did. It looks like Runkle lifted it a little bit earlier, and that's, I know DV probably feels like he got ran over, and then I'm sure that Grandy feels like, wow, he lifted way early. But that's where I was talking about these end of these straightaways. You're carrying so much speed that, if you got two guys on two different agendas where one wants to lift a little bit earlier, one wants to attack the corner a little bit further, that right there is exactly what will happen.
So we are under caution again here. We have 3 laps complete. Templeton's leading there. Through that green flag run, the top 13 stayed as they started.
They will go to double file here on this particular start, so that's good news. We're going to see side by side. So a couple of these guys that do want to make moves, I can tell you, it's a lot easier to do it if you're in the line you want to be in, and it's doubled up. You can get around, you can get 1 or 2 positions if you're in the right line.
So that'll put Templeton alongside Vickery. Lawson and Salas there. Chapman's currently in 5th. He was looking to make a move on Salas as that last caution came out. As the lights are turned off, the Steve King Foundation pace car, that means we'll go back to racing action this time by. 3 laps complete of our 30-lap A main here in the Magnum Race Design 358 small block division. Thank you for tuning in. It's Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder for the Coast to Coast Race League here at Williams Grove Speedway. And they will make their way through turn 4. And we are back to green at Williams Grove. It's Templeton on that inside, Vickery to the outside. You've got Lawson making a move on the inside of Salas through 1 and 2.
I got another incident already too over in turn 2. It's a big one. Collected a lot of cars.
A lot involved. We'll look here at our replay. It looks like Michael Vitale was on the front end of it.
Yeah, it was Dean Reynolds went in and got in a little bit hot and got into the back of the 513 of Jeff Barker, and it was on from there.
So they will get lined back up. We've got 25 laps to go now. Another beautiful evening at Williams Grove, it looks like. It's a beautiful night here in Atlanta, Georgia. How's the weather there in Missouri, John?
It's almost like desert weather. It gets a little warm in the day. I think we got right around 90, and then tonight I think it's going to be down in the low 60s. So, you know, a little bit chilly, it feels like, compared to what the daytime temperatures are. But I think we're supposed to get some heat Saturday afternoon, and then it'll kind of stabilize back down a little bit. But I am excited because the World of Outlaw late models will be in town both Friday, Saturday night. So, knock on wood, if the weather all holds out, maybe I can sneak away and go watch a World of Outlaws race.
Nice. Me and the boys are going to an Atlanta Braves baseball game tomorrow night.
Nice. I thought about grabbing a couple tickets to the Cardinals game because every now and again I get these coupons or in my Facebook feed. Oh, tickets $5. I don't know anybody like anybody at Coolray that get me nice seats like you guys get, but still being at the ball game and a lot of fun. So that's the cool thing about living in a little bit bigger of an area. You get options if you want to go do something.
Plenty of stuff going on, and if you've got a dirt track local, that's the one thing here in Atlanta. Dixie Speedway closed down for the racing season this year, and that's been a bummer for us that like to go there with a little dirt track really in the metro footprint.
Yeah, I've raced there a couple of times, and man, I like that Georgia red clay, man. That's the best damn surface that you can get on.
And with that, it's Templeton and Vickery. They're leading us back to green here at Williams Grove. Single file restarts this time by it's Templeton staying out front. They will stay in line. It looks like back in 7th, someone jumps out to the inside. As it's Morano trying to make something work as he's moved to the inside of Pomalu. And he'll fall back in line down the front stretch. Now Zach Chapman trying to make a move on Lawson.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, everybody behind them is watching what those two guys will do. And if they see them actually close up or pass somebody, you're going to see the next 3 or 4 cars probably all dive to that bottom.
Chapman resets this. Morano continuing to try to make that work on the inside. Falls back in line again down the front stretch. Salas is trying to find some grip on the inside to get past Vickery. Unable to do so as Templeton's pulled away with this lead. Now about a half-second lead over second.
Yeah, if the bottom on either end is going to come in, it's going to come in over in 3 and 4 first, and then you'll see it come in maybe a little bit later down in 1 and 2.
Morano is bound and determined to be the first to make it work as he continues to try to get into that top 6.
Yeah, and why not? He doesn't appear to be like losing any ground down there, but he's not really gaining it either.
So 21 laps to go. Out front, it's Brandon Templeton. He has settled in nicely out front. Behind him, Vickery, Salas, and then Lawson, your top 4. As it looks like the 31 of Templeton has great rhythm and momentum around the track currently, pulling away with 20 laps to go.
Yeah, the top 3 have separated themselves a little bit. Templeton has a pretty decent-sized lead, but the battle is now heating up for 4th position there with Zach Chapman and looks like maybe Brian Lawson.
Chapman and Morano continue to try to make that inside line work. Chapman slides up in 1 and 2, tries to get some momentum going. As Pomalu tries to get up alongside him as well. single file throughout most of the field. Morano continues as it looks like there's an incident in 1 and 2. They'll keep it straight. Will stay green with 18 to go. And it looked like Morano got into the inside wall there in 3 and 4. That'll bounce him back to the 8th place car of Butch Baker.
Yeah, really not seeing that bottom come in too much there. We're about 13 laps in. They're working lap 13 here, 14. I think give it about 4 or 5 more laps. I think the last 10 laps of this race, you're going to see guys probably down there.
Back in the field, you've got Chapman and Sharp exchanging positions. Chapman's down on that inside line trying to make it work. He'll complete the pass on Sharp and now move up alongside Beauchamp. Chapman might be the first one to get that inside line to come in and work for him, John.
Yeah, he is making it work. He's getting a nice run off the corner here. We're lap 16. I think that bottom's only going to get better as that cushion up top, especially in 3 and 4, starts to get more narrow. And guys, like I said, are going to have to start pedaling their cars a little bit to get through there.
So with that being said, Zach Chapman's now moved up the track as he continues to follow Lawson, who's in 4th. Chapman really taking a hard left about midway through the corner, cutting down the track as he heads down the straightaway.
Yeah, and he's making that work. We call that diamonding, and that works really well, especially in turn 4 if you're up against that wall and turn right down, just like he does right there.
Our chip banger hard charger, taking a look at that, it's Blake Chapman all the way up to 9th. He's up 10 spots from his 19th starting position as we've got 12 laps to go here at Williams Grove. As Chapman continues to battle Lawson, Pomalu tries to join the party as he's now entered and he's running that low line.
Yeah, he is making that low line work, and Zach was doing a really nice job at diamonding the corner. And if Pomalu gets in there, he can't do that. If Zach would just stay a little bit before the low of the slick, though, going down that front stretch, I think he could probably compete that pass on Lawson. He could get that tack and get a nice forward drive down the front stretch.
And the caution will come out.
Oh, big wreck.
Looks like it started with Logan Wentz. He's in the 18 there. Oh, and Beauchamp slowed down quickly in 3, and Wentz had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's differing agendas there, and oh boy, this one caused a big one.
So under 10 laps to go now here at Williams Grove. We got our Magnum Race Design 358 small block modifieds kicking off this week's Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder action. Out front, it has been Brandon Templeton from start to now. And with a 10-lap shootout, we definitely saw some guys moving all over the track trying to make some moves. So John, in iRacing, if you're one of the first guys to continue to push that high line up, what does that feel like? What does that do? Does it have any effect on what you're trying to do up there?
Yeah, it will change. You're not trying to get it to do anything. There comes a point where you wish it would stay just the way it is, but it continues to deteriorate. But yeah, you've got to be on it lap after lap, because you go through there one time and maybe do something that the next time you go through there, especially a field this size, and let's say 20 out of the 24 are up there. The next time you come through a corner, well, that cushion could be a little higher than what it is, and maybe that's the one where that crossover happens, where you have to start lifting. So you have to be real careful, especially with these cars, because if you do overdo it, that right front is not forgiving if it makes contact with the wall.
So the pace car lights are off on the Steve King Foundation pace car. We're going to have another Mission 22 restart here at Williams Grove with 10 laps to go. Here in our small blocks, don't forget we've got our big blocks coming up next, and then we'll conclude the night with our Chip Banger Racing super late models. As Templeton, Vickery, Salas, Lawson, Chapman, your top 5 come out of 4, and we are back to green at Williams Grove. Templeton controls the pace as Vickery dives to the inside on him through 1 and 2.
And Vickery gets a nice run coming out of turn 2 there and is able to hold serve there on the bottom, and he's going to jump right back to the top over in 3 and 4.
Same thing for Chapman back in 5th. He had a great run through 1 and 2, and behind him for 6th, we have a battle of 4 cars as Morano and Chapman continue to use that inside line.
Yeah, Morano's trying to work her way around Baker right here, but he goes back to that low line. I just don't see that having enough viability yet to make passes.
So Morano is still side by side with Baker. Top 5 remain as they were. As it's Templeton, Vickery, Salas out front. There'll be 6 laps to go this time by.
Another caution over in turn 3 and 4.
It looks like Kevin Davis was involved in that 21 modified. And it was just contact between him and Grady going into turn 3.
Yeah, Grady just didn't give him any room, turned that car and right reared him into the wall there. And, you know, that is one of those awareness things. You got to know where guys are. And Kevin Davis paid the price right there.
So that means another appearance for the Steve King Foundation pace car. It means another Mission 22 restart. And it means another restart for Vickery to try to make a move on Templeton, our leader.
Yeah, if he's got any shot at it, he's going to have to make sure he gets a good restart, you know, down the front stretch. But really, really just hit turns 1 and 2 perfectly. And he has a puncher's chance of maybe getting a good run like he did last time, coming out of turn 2, and then maybe can slide him going into turn 3.
Taking a look at our current Chip Banger Racing hard charger, Bob DeGood in that 7 modified up 11 spots. Started at the back of the field. He's up to 13th now here at Williams Grove.
A nice run for Bob tonight. And he's still got some laps to get a few more cars here.
Steve King Foundation pace car turns the lights off. We will have our single file restart. And as you mentioned, all of them will try to time it right with the leader here as the laps continue to count down with 6 laps to go when they take the green. We're back to green. Templeton has a clean start, single file down the front stretch. Puts a slight gap between him and Vickery through 1 and 2 as they all take the high side through 1 and 2.
Yeah, you have to go all the way back to our usual suspects, Moreno and Blake Chapman back there trying to get that below line to work, and just still not there for him.
Brandon Templeton out front. We've got 5 laps to go as Morano and Baker continue to exchange positions. And Chapman slid up top. Now the 28 of Sharp joins in on this battle. This is a battle for 7th. And Sharp gets sideways in the corner, and the caution will come out.
Oh, Jeff, what he did there was Jeff just got onto the brakes really hard because he got into the corner and had to check up a little bit for Blake Chapman. So rather than Jeff there chose to, rather than hitting Chapman, he just put a lot of brake into it. And when you do that with these cars, it does exactly that. It'll loop the car around.
So now 27 laps complete. 26 laps complete, I'm sorry. 4 laps to go here in this A main for our 358 small blocks presented by Magnum Race Design. As always, after this race, we will talk to our top 3 finishers. And then a small break, and when we come back, we will have our big blocks.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here on the fence. If I got the big block down there in the pit area in there with the late model, I don't know if I'm going to run it or not, but I might just because I need laps at this track. This is the worst track I have in iRacing for these big cars. I hate coming here in these cars, but I do need the laps.
As the Steve King Foundation pace car dives on in, myself and our viewers, I think, vote that you jump in it, John. As Templeton brings us back to green. Good restart by Vickery there. As Salas now jumps to the inside with 3 to go, really trying to make it work and get to the lead. Salas had gotten up alongside Vickery. Vickery was able to take momentum through the backstretch. As Baker saves it coming out of 4, keeps us green. Now 2 laps to go.
Wow, all 3, second, third, and fourth, all went to the bottom there in turns 1 and 2. Zach Chapman finally got around Brian Lawson using that bottom line. He now moves back up into line there, back into 4th. As they continue to turn laps here, as they continue to wind down, we're going to get the checkered flag here.
So with that, they will come out of turn 4. It's going to be from start to finish. Brandon Templeton with the win at Williams Grove. Our Chip Banger Hard Charger Award will go to Blake Chapman. After starting 19th, he will finish 8th. So a great rebound and top 10 finish for Blake. And we will be talking to Brandon Templeton, Nicholas Vickery, and Isaac Salas, our top 3 finishers. Good rebound for Templeton after the opener last week. He came into the week 19th in points. Vickery, our winner last week, a great second race for him here in this summer season. And to get us started, John, I think you have our 3rd place finisher, Isaac Salas.
Yeah, Isaac, this is John on the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, bud, that looked like a fairly interesting race for you. You look like you had a little bit of pace, maybe a little more than what Nick did in front of you, but track conditions didn't go your way here tonight, it looked like.
No, I mean I did have a little bit more pace than Nick, but I mean catching him is one thing, passing him is another. So if you can't pass him, I mean like you can't just drive through somebody. But it was fun, man. The track it kind of provided 2-lane racing a little bit in the middle, but I mean I was just I'm not too keen to run the bottom as we've kind of all figured out.
Yeah, that last restart, I saw it's basically second through fourth all jumped down, and you look like Nick got through there okay. It looked like you lost a little ground there. Might have cost you a little bit there to make one last run at Nick, but real exciting run. A good night there to at least get in the feature. We sent a lot of guys home tonight. I tell you, are you going to come back and run the big block?
Yeah, yes, sir, I am. I'm gonna hopefully this becomes a little bit more competitive now that we got the extra horsepower.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this real quick. What are you going to do different? Is there anything that you learned here that you can take over to that big block?
Yeah, I found a line. And as much as I want to tell you about the line, I'm gonna keep it a secret to see if.
Wow, there's nobody listening. We keep it between us.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. But I gained a lot in the corners by using it, and I was like, okay, well, maybe if you get a chance, there you go. But it was in the middle part of the race, so I mean, if you're gonna have to be in a position to kind of, take advantage of that. So that's just a mental thing that I thought about.
Well, Isaac, a good run, good podium run, a nice points night. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Dean with the Super Dirt Car Series. I mean, you can kind of see that bad, beautiful thing all over the car. Magnum Race Designs with Brian Lawson. I know that he had a great night. I think he finished fifth, I believe. He was right behind me, giving me some pressure all night, which was a lot of fun to race a teammate. Venom Racing, love those guys. I could talk freaking all day about them, to be honest with you. We added Kevin Davis to the mix. Sucks for him. But yeah, he's full blown Venom now, so that's awesome. All the guys that came out and raced, everyone that came and watched so far, and then obviously you guys that have put on the broadcast.
Well, awesome. Good luck here in the next race. Hopefully, we'll talk to you here in a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
Yep, that's Isaac Salas, our third place finisher tonight in the 358 Modifieds.
Now joining us is our second place finisher, Nicholas Vickery. Nicholas, it's Travis up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. How are y'all?
Doing well. A great finish tonight. Bouncing back from your win last week. What does it mean getting off to a quick start here in this summer series with two great finishes?
Yeah, it feels really good. I missed a few races last season and couldn't quite take advantage of the drop weeks. So I'm hoping to make every race this season and just keep, knocking out podiums and hopefully I'll be there in the end.
We watched you follow Brandon around the entire race there. Was there anything you thought you could have done if, there were some cautions throughout, if those would have stayed green maybe longer? Was there any opportunities you felt like you could have had?
Well, first I got to say hats off to Brandon. Yeah, he didn't make many mistakes at all and none that I could capitalize on. So, but yeah, I mean, near the end of the race, I started trying to search around the racetrack and run the bottom, but I'm live or die by the high side, so I didn't do anything but lose ground on the bottom. But I mean, for some guys it might have worked. I couldn't make it work, so I just fell back in line and rode around on the top and just hoped that Brandon made a mistake, and he never did.
So as you look ahead to the rest of the night, assuming you're going to be back for the big blocks next, did you learn anything in this race that you'll take over to the big block modifieds?
Yeah, I appreciate the extra cubic inches that the big blocks have over the 358. That's probably the thing I'm looking most forward to because here I like to run the diamond line, and the 358 just doesn't have the power to drive off the corner the same way the big blocks do. So I would imagine here come the feature of this next race, you'll probably see a couple different lines in the late race.
Well, it was a great finish, Nick. Do you get anyone to thank this week as you come away with your second straight top two finish?
Yes, sir. Definitely got to shout out Spartan Racing #1. I saw that Andrew was in here. I would imagine he's going to run the big block in the late model race as well. So look forward to having another guy in the race with me. And after that would be VMR Wraps. If anybody out there needs a wrap, come check us out on Facebook at VMR E-Wraps. Miriam Majado Spa, my wife, for letting me do this. Roger and Preston for keeping everything going. And then, of course, you guys for putting on a great show.
Well, great run, Nicholas. We will see you here shortly with the big blocks, and congratulations on your second place.
All right, thanks, guys.
John, you have our winner of tonight's A main with the small blocks, Brandon Templeton.
Yeah, Brandon, this is John up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, John, how you doing?
Not too bad, man. Another win for you here to start your night off. Walk me through the race. Tell me how you made it happen.
Well, most of it was, I guess, qualifying in the heat race because track position was pretty huge there, and it sure helped to start out in front of those guys rather than try to find something to get around them. So that helped a lot. But yeah, in the heat race, I was able to make some moves and get up to the front. So that helped and get positioned to kind of set the stage for it.
Well, you did a great job. You didn't make you put a tire wrong pretty much the whole night and able to hold on to those guys. Did those late cautions make you nervous at all? Thinking, oh gosh, here we go again, or did you feel like that might have given you advantage there at the end?
I mean, I think it kind of helped a little bit because it kept Nick and Isaac from being able to kind of build up some momentum to throw a slider or start getting the bottom, rhythm down. But that's what I was really afraid of. Was I just thought, as soon as that bottom starts getting there and that top goes away, we probably had 5 more laps before that was really going to start happening. So I lucked out there.
Well, my next question is going to be, are you going to come back run the big blocks, or are we going to see a little later in the late model?
Nope, I'm out here in them now.
Oh, nice. Did you learn anything there that you can bring over and transfer over to this one?
I don't know. It seems a lot tougher to hold it on the bottom with these things, so they'll probably be ripping that top. But, they almost might blow the marbles off quicker, and, you might see it come down to the bottom towards the end, too.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in this next race. But who would you like to give a shout-out for your victory here in the 358s?
I got to thank Dirt Track Bank, all the guys on the race team there, Joe Halter, Brian Dickens, Kurt Schatzer, and Greg Boydell. Extreme Images by Ashley, Maley's Makery, and Big C's Lawn Care.
Well, congratulations again. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you again here before the night's out, and enjoy those races.
Thanks.
That's Brandon Templeton, tonight's 358 modified Victor.
So, John, that concludes our small block portion of tonight's Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have our big blocks here as Thursday Night Thunder for the Coast to Coast Race League continues.
in our industry.
The lifetime parts and labor warranty is pretty awesome. Basically, all the parts are covered, the labor and everything.
When we say lifetime, we mean lifetime, and it's supported with money-back guarantees. And with that, you're getting all qualified technicians that are going to ensure that this job is done perfectly and operates perfectly throughout the life of the unit.
Learn more about our Coolray lifetime parts and labor warranty at Coolray.com. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Welcome back to Williams Grove Speedway. You're watching Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder for the Coast to Coast Racing League. We now move on to the Big Block Modifieds, part 2 of our Thursday Night Thunder tonight, John. We were talking about it with the small blocks. You were still debating, John. Are you going to hop in that old buggy of yours for this?
I'm still on the fence. I'm on the track now, just trying to get a feel for it. I know I gotta have to make a decision quick, aren't I? I guess I'll try to go ahead and do it. I'll be mid-pack and probably ensure that the pace car will lead the most laps here tonight. But me and this track just don't get along.
So with that, we will head into ABR Setup Shop qualifying. Go out on the track here at Williams Grove. Another great turnout for the big blocks here tonight. Looking at our A&J Custom Creations point standings, Brandon Templeton, our winner in the small blocks earlier tonight, was our winner last week. He's our points leader. Zachary Chapman second. Shannon third, tied with Vickery. And Pomalu is in fifth. So laps will start to come in this time by 95% of the cars out for their lap currently. And it's Templeton who shoots out to the fastest time by a tenth over Jeff Sharp. Broadcasting partner John Hine down there at 9th here in this qualifying session.
Yeah, these things are a handful. I talked about earlier about how much speed you're carrying going into the corners. You really do with these, a lot more speed than what you would with the 358. So we saw a lot of guys get themselves into trouble on corner entry, especially over going into turn 3 here. I think this one is going to be a bit more of a challenge for them to do that and not have trouble. A lot of speed with these cars going into these corners.
Well, and we have a lot of guys going from those small blocks to the big blocks here. We saw what the momentum did during the small block race there. And now that they've got a little extra horsepower, it'll be real interesting to see what they can do, especially the ones chomping at the bit to make some moves with the small block car.
Yeah, and I was playing around there in practice, looking at my lap times on the bottom compared to the middle to the top, and because you have that extra power, my lap times didn't differentiate too much between any lines. So I think with these heats and everything else, don't be a bit surprised. You know, we saw everybody fight for the bottom in the 358s. Don't be surprised here if you see 2 wide, maybe even 3 wide racing before we get done with this heat races.
As Nicholas Vickery completes his first lap, he'll shoot up towards the top. He'll be second fastest, slot himself between Templeton and Jeff Sharp. Zach Chapman, 12th fastest. He's currently out there as well, as we've got about 5 drivers still needing to complete a lap if they are here in ABR Setup Shop qualifying. And with that, qualifying comes to an end. It's going to be Brandon Templeton, your fast time. So we will move into heat race number 1. Heat race number 1, as always, presented by Langton Mechanical. And John, you've got our starting lineup.
Yes, sir. On the pole is going to be the 397 of Alex Pomeler. Next to him will be Anthony Morano. In that second row will be Marc-Antoine Chenong. And next to him will be Brandon Templeton, our quick time and our feature winner earlier this evening. Starting there in the third row is going to be Jeff Barker, Andrew Smith, and out on the back row will be Mr. John Rayner.
So Langton Mechanical heat race number 1 gets us started with tonight's big block modifieds. It's going to be Pomelu and Morano leading us to green. They fall in line behind our Steve King Foundation pace car. Eight laps for this heat race. And we are green at Williams Grove. Pomelu will jump out front going into 1 as it's Shannon on the inside of Morano for second. And they continue to be side by side down the backstretch and through turns 3 and 4.
A tight battle there amongst the top 4 as they come down the front stretch and barrel back into turn 1 here. And you got 3 wide. I kind of thought that might be the case. They were 3 wide briefly there at turn 2.
Templeton joins up into the battle. He's now up into third around Morano. He will now set his sights on Shannon for second. And now Barker goes to make a move on that 4th transfer spot, takes out him and Rayner as they fall back behind the top 4 now with 6 laps to go.
Jeff there had to check up a little bit and not hit the guy in front of him. When he did, he got tapped from behind there. And yeah, those guys are going to have to gather it up. We got a big enough field tonight where they're going to have to be on it here to get into the 8th.
The top 4 continue to race nose to tail. The 2 Canadians out front battling for the lead through 4. Templeton joins the party as he tries to make it 3 wide coming down the front stretch.
Yeah, the 2 teammates are leading the way. We still see Brandon Templeton, our feature winner from earlier tonight. You know, when you got 2 guys running like that, you got nowhere to go. Oh, and Templeton gets a little sideways, gets away with it there in turn 3. Nice recovery.
So 3 laps to go as it's Templeton following the front 2, trying to find a way to get alongside them. They'll single file it out as they go into 3 and 4. Jumping to the inside for second, unable to, he'll jump back in line down the front stretch.
Yeah, I think Templeton's quicker than those front 2 guys. He just doesn't have anywhere to go with it right now. Right there, he tries to get that nose in coming out, and Mark is not having any of it. Kind of pinched him down there into the wall.
He continues to try to make something as Morano behind him in that 4th and final transfer spot watches on. And as we take the final lap around, it's Pomelu out front. His teammate makes one last move on him through 3 and 4, but it's going to be Alex Pomelu, our winner in heat race number 1. We'll bring up our results from heat race number 1. Pomalu, Shannone, Templeton, Morano transfer. It'll be Smith, Barker, and Rayner moving on to the B main. Now it's our starting lineup for heat race number 2 presented by Magnum Race Designs. It's going to be Michael Vitale, Logan Wentz, G.J. Boydell, Nicholas Vickery, Bob DeGood, Isaac Salas, and Gary Singlecow making up our field.
You know, I was reading the grid out loud and forgot to hit that little button.
No worries, you're racing in this series, so I'll cover whenever needed to make sure you can focus on trying to get a victory tonight.
Yeah, I believe him in that. That ain't gonna happen. I'm just gonna try to finish here. Yeah, I'll be in that next heat. But again, we're gonna have looks like to be 4 heats in this one. So again, gotta have a really good field here of cars to take us into that feature.
So some guys we saw in the small blocks just a little while ago in this heat as the Steve King Foundation pace car pulls on into the infield. 8 laps around Williams Grove for this heat race number 2. And Michael Vitale takes us to green. It's Logan Wentz on the outside. As Vitale gets too low, that'll stack him up, and it's going to be Nicholas Vickery coming out of 2 with the lead.
Oh, and Isaac Salas heading into the wall on the backstretch. What a crazy start to this one. But boy, that 0-0 opportunistic there of Vickery. He saw those guys have a problem, saw Mike Vitale hit that inside, and he struck fast.
So they continue to race. It's Vickery out front, Vitale, Wentz, DeGood, your top 4 as they make their way around Williams Grove.
And DeGood finds himself in a transfer spot after all that craziness of lap 1 here. Doesn't have a whole lot of pressure from behind, so he's got the luxury of just concentrating on his line and clicking off the fastest laps he can.
As it's Nicholas Vickery out front. 5 laps to go here in heat race number 2 presented by Magnum Race Design. And Vitale will go into the pits with that wreck. Salas still in 6th, trying to catch up after his incident on the backstretch early in the race, really stretching the field around this track here at Williams Grove now, as Vickery has over a 2-second lead over Wentz. Really chaos from the beginning here in heat race number 2.
Sure was, and the guy who started out back had a heat EOL was Greg Boydell. Well, Mr. Boydell is now in a transfer spot.
And we saw it with the small blocks earlier in the heat race. You 3 laps to go, a lot can happen. We've seen mistakes, we've seen incidences happen that have taken guys solidly in the top 4. All of a sudden, they're on the outside looking in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think that Salas can get up there and get to Singlecow, but Singlecow now is sitting outside the front row for that B main. So even though they're not in a transfer spot, there's a lot riding on that position there with Singlecow.
So Vickery will take the white flag. He's got 1 more lap around here in heat race number 2. Coming off a 2nd place A-main finish with the small blocks. And he will make his way through 3 and 4 one final time. And heat race number 2 will go to Nicholas Vickery in the 0-0. Your heat race number 2 presented by Magnum Race Designs results will be Nicholas Vickery, your winner, Logan Wentz 2nd, Bob DeGood 3rd, Boydell 4th, with Singlecow, Salas, and Vitale headed to the B main. And now heat race number 3 presented by 21 Designs. It's going to be Butch Baker on the pole next to him. Broadcast partner John Hine. Second row Joseph Grandy next to Jeff Sharp. And our third row will be Kevin Davis and Jesse Atkinson.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this track, driving through turns 1 and 2 here, that proverbial slick, that really shiny stuff you see right in the entrance turn 1 here, all the way through, and it looks like, as I look down the end of the backstretch, turn 3 has a lot of that, which is now going to start adding to a difficulty level for guys getting into these corners. They're going to have to really make sure they hit their marks, because if they're in this stuff right here that I'm in and they turn that wheel, that car is just going to want to go right up the track.
So the Steve King Foundation pace car dives in. It's going to be Baker and Hine on that front row taking us to green. 8 laps in heat race number 3. And the green flag is out. Baker on that inside will pull out in front and slide up in front of Hine as they go through 1 and 2. Behind them, it is Grandy and Sharp in that transfer spot. But Kevin Davis is looking to make a move to join the top 4. Hine makes a move on Baker through 4, unable to complete. He'll jump up in line down the front stretch as it's Grandy right behind him. And a battle for 4th between Sharp and Davis continues. Grandy and Hine are side by side coming off of 4. There's contact slightly as they cross the start finish line. Grandy's able to slide into that second position as Butch Baker continues to lead. 6 laps to go here at Williams Grove. Grandy now making a move as Hine's on his outside. Hine will slide into second. Grandy will have to fall back to third. Baker continues to lead with 5 laps to go, with Hine making a move on the lead down the backstretch. Still side by side coming off of 4. It's Baker, Hine, Grandy, Sharp, your top 4 for the transfer. The 21 of Kevin Davis continues to try to get past Sharp as there's contact between Grandy and Hine down the backstretch. Grandy will fall back to 4th. There's a wreck with the leaders. By the time they get to the start-finish line, it's Grandy leading Sharp, Hine, and Davis. And Butch Baker, our leader, is now back to 6th. Grandy, Sharp, Hine all battling for that lead spot as Hine on the inside of Sharp, side by side down the front stretch. Grandy will lead that lap as the top 4 continue to battle. 2 laps to go. White flag this time by it. Looks like it's going to be Joseph Grandy taking it as it's Sharp and Hine side by side for second. Grandy leads them down the backstretch as Hine continues to move to the inside of Sharp for second. Coming out of 4, it's going to be Joseph Grandy for heat race number 3. And our finishing result for heat race number 3 presented by 21 Design, it's Joseph Grandy, Jeff Sharp, John Hine, Kevin Davis, Jesse Atkinson, and Butch Baker will have to move on to the B main.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a rough heat race there. I got to apologize to Baker. I got into him, but I a little bit of contact with him, and then then Grandy got into my left rear there, and it upset the car on corner entry, and it didn't let the car turn, and I got right up into Baker there.
So heat race number 3, lots of moves throughout, lots of contact throughout the field, John. And as we move on to heat race number 4, presented by Maurer Farm Management, our starting lineup is Lawson Chapman, Dean Reynolds, Connor Ross, Chris Elvey, and Dean Meitzler. The Steve King Foundation pace car will dive on into the infield. And heat race number 4 will get underway with Lawson and Chapman on that front row. Great start by Lawson on that inside line, as it is for Reynolds, who moves to the inside of Chapman through 1 and 2.
Well, contact there between Dean and Chapman, and they're both able to continue on here.
So there's a great battle for 4th between Alvey and Ross. That's the 4th and final transfer spot. That lets you skip that B main and go straight to the A main, as Brian Lawson has pulled out front to a lead over Reynolds and Chapman, who continue to battle side by side. Great battle for second between Chapman and Dean Reynolds down the backstretch. Chapman will slide up in the middle of the corner. He'll battle back on that inside line, fall in line at the start-finish line, and try to make another move on Reynolds this lap around, as we've got 5 laps to go.
And Zach is trying to diamond that corner. I was trying to do that in that last heat race, and while I had to give up the corner entry, the guy pull out, I could catch back up, but just couldn't complete the pass doing that. It just didn't give me enough of an advantage to get around somebody and pull up in front of them.
So 4 laps to go. Battle for second continues. The top 4 guys have pulled away. It's Lawson, Reynolds, Chapman, and Alvey, your top 4 set to transfer. Chapman continues to try to pick up that spot from Reynolds, unable to complete it as of yet. 3 more laps for Lawson out front.
Lawson continues to have a commanding lead as he clicks off another lap at the start finish line going into 1. The top 3 of run 1, 2, 3, nose to tail. Looks like they've settled in. No real battle for the transfer spot either, so we can just really focus on those top 3.
They will come out of turn 4, get the white flag, this time by the final lap in heat race number 4, presented by Mauer Farm Management. Lawson continues to lead, looking to lead all 8 laps in this heat and take home the heat victory. They make their way through turns 3 and 4, and it is going to be Brian Lawson, your winner of heat race number 4. Your heat race number 4 results look like this. It's Brian Lawson, Dean Reynolds, Zach Chapman, Chris Elvey moving on. Connor Ross and Dean Meitzler will go to the B main that is lining up now.
And we got the B main. It looks like 8 cars are going to be able to take the start for this one. Or not 8 cars, I'm sorry. 8 are going to transfer over to the A main here. And looks like we've got 10 that are scheduled to grid. So a couple guys will go home here. But on the pole is going to be Andrew Smith. To his outside will be Gary Sigelkow. Starting in the second row will be Jesse Atkinson, Connor Ross. And the next row, a couple of surprises in here. A couple of guys you expect to be towards the front in an A main. Jeff Barker, Isaac Salas. Next row will be Butch Baker and Dean Meitzler. And rounding out the field will be John Rayner and Michael Vitale. So top 8 there. Meitzler is going to be holding down that final transfer spot as they roll off here.
So the Steve King Foundation pace car leads the field around. Pace car lights are off. That means we will go to green this time by.
And it looks like only 8 took the call here. So all 8 of these guys behind the pace car, barring somebody coming out of the pits and an accident happened, these are going to be the guys that are going to go on to the A.
So battling for positioning in that A main starting lineup. So Smith and Sigelkow will lead us to green in this B main, presented by Gambler Motorsports. And we are under green. Single cow gets into the 79 of Smith on the start there. By the time they get to the backstretch, there's going to be Andrew Smith, Jesse Atkinson, Jeffrey Barker, your top three.
Yeah, Single Cow continues to struggle as he goes right from that front row all the way to the back. But good news for him, he's in a transfer spot still. Trouble for Connor Ross there as he had to check up for Mike Vitale, who got into that inside corner there. Bumped him up the track.
John, do you feel like that inside line's come in as well as you thought it would by this point?
Yes and no. Nobody is running it. I'm not good at doing that. I'm surprised I don't see a couple of guys venturing down there just to see what's down there. Well, now as I say that, the 5 of Salas goes down there and really rolls through 3 and 4. Makes ground up on Jeff Barker, in fact, on the bottom. So with this extra power here and as much grip, though, as on that top side or where that cushion's pushed to right now, it does not surprise me that the top is dominant here early on.
Salas continues to try to make it work down there as he continues to make up ground on Barker. Really pinched it off turn 4 there, but out front it's Andrew Smith continuing to lead. Great run for Jesse Atkinson in second. As they count down the laps, it'll be 5 laps to go in the Gambler Motorsports B main this time by. Looking to set the field for our Big Blocks A main event coming up next. Make sure you stay with us after the Big Blocks. We've got the Chip Banger Racing Super Late models. Great race now for Salas and Barker for third. Side by side down the front stretch. Barker now trying to use that inside line as Salas has been able to move up. And Butch Baker now sets his sights on Barker as they go through 3 and 4.
Yeah, nice battle for that third position there. Those 3 guys are kind of slicing and dicing. And oh, Single Cow, dangerous move coming out of the pits there when the field is right there. Oh man, that could have been a complete disaster for those guys up front.
And now Salas and Baker have moved up onto the back of Atkinson, who's right behind our leader of Smith. The top 5's really tightened up as we've got 2 laps to go.
There goes Salas to the bottom, and look at that run he gets from the center off that corner. And boy, I tell you, Travis, that bottom looks like it could be viable. And oh, but you got to hit it perfect. We're right there. He did not, and that might cost him third. And Atkinson has a problem. They're 3 wide now coming out of the corner.
Atkins got into the outside wall as Salas got a bad entry into 3. Baker benefits. He now moves up to second behind Smith, and Salas will move into third in front of Atkinson. Out front, it's going to be Andrew Smith winning the B main presented by Gambler Motorsports. Bring up your Gambler Motorsports B main results. It's Andrew Smith, Butch Baker, Isaac Salas, Jesse Atkinson, Jeff Barker, your top 5. And with that, John, we move to our Flatline Racing Bodies intermission. I'm sure you're going to head out on the track, get some laps in here before this A main event.
I am, and look, you're coming out here now. It's been a little bit of time since I've been on the track here, and it already looks vastly different. You had asked earlier, you know, the difference from going out first. The guys that went out first, this is like being at a completely different racetrack now at this point.
As we ride along in the 71 of John Hine as he makes his warm-ups during Flatline Racing Bodies intermission here.
Yeah, we're already getting up really close to the wall through here in 3 and 4, so, you know, that's what I was talking about last series, where you might have to start lifting to keep yourself off that wall. You're really going to have to mind it here with these cars because of the amount of speed that you're carrying down here. I already see someone up on the roof down here. You're going to have to really be on your toes on, you know, when you get into that corner. It's going to be really careful not to overdrive it and wash up into that wall. We've seen just even this last race where Jesse Atkinson tapped the wall and that cost him a couple of spots. This field's going to be really tight, so really tricky to get down through here and keep your momentum up.
So just over a minute left here. We'll show the best times during this warm-up session. It's Nicholas Vickery with a healthy lead over Grandy for the best time out here during intermission. Grandy's been fast all night, as has Vickery and Lawson. My sidekick up in the booth, John Hine, currently 7th fastest.
Which is extremely surprising. But we should be better, I think, as the track slicks up. I'm one of those guys that the slicker it is, the happier I am. You got to kind of work things a little bit. It's kind of an equalizer, I think, for me anyway.
So they continue as the Flatline Racing Body's intermission will come to a close. It's going to be Nicholas Vickery with the fastest time. And we will start to grid up the field for tonight's A main. You're watching Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder for the Coast to Coast Racing League. This is the big block division. And your starting lineup looks like this. It's Alex Pomalu on the pole next to Nicholas Vickery, Joseph Grandy and Brian Lawson, row 2. Row 3, Shannon and Wentz. 7th, Jeff Sharp, Dean Reynolds. Row 5 is going to be Brandon Templeton and Bob DeGood. 11th, John Hine. 12th, Zachary Chapman. 13th, Anthony Morano next to G.J. Boydell. It's Kevin Davis, Chris Elvey, Andrew Smith, Butch Baker, and rounding out the top 10, it's Isaac Salas and Jesse Atkinson. Rounding out the field, it's going to be Jeffrey Barker, Michael Vitale, Connor Ross, and Gary Singlecow rounding out the 24 field. So the Steve King Foundation pace car will lead us around. Our feature starting lineup presented by We Let the Dogs Out For You Pet Care Services. And as they make their way around, we will go to green. We've got 30 laps in this A main event.
Yeah, the track is a lot more slicked up here, so this side-by-side going barreling into one here. We don't have a lot of banking to catch these cars, so guys are going to have to take care of getting down here for us to get outside that other side here.
So they make their way through 3 and 4. It's going to be Vickery and Pomalu coming down the front stretch here at Williams Grove. And we are green with our big block division A main from Williams Grove. A lot of side-by-side action, even 3 wide back in the pack as they come through 1 and 2. It's going to be Nicholas Vickery pulling away with the lead down the backstretch, followed by Pomalu. Behind them, a great battle for third with Grandy on the inside. It's Lawson on the outside. He will take the third position as they cross this time. And everyone gets settled in with 1 lap complete. Great battle up front is Nicholas Vickery. Oh, there's contact in turn 4. Looks like it was between Wentz And Templeton will fall back.
Well, I can't believe there wasn't a caution on that deal.
Wentz and Templeton got together. It sent Templeton as high as you could go, and there's our first caution. Looks like it's going to be for Jesse Atkinson. Our Malcolm Mills millwrighting. Oh, there was a lot of cars all over the place on the front stretch. And then Atkinson clipped the inside of turn 1.
Yeah, that incident on the front stretch, Templeton, I don't know what happened in front of us, but by the time I got to where he was sideways, and I even lifted off and I pushed him around. I do not know how iRacing didn't call that a caution.
So 2 laps complete. It's Nicholas Vickery. Jump to the lead. We'll have our first Mission 22 restart of the night for the big blocks in the A main. The Steve King Foundation pace car paces the field.
Yeah, and to watch for on this restart, we should be double file, I do believe, and that inside groove really didn't work too bad down in 1 and 2. So guys that are going to be on the inside here, not only are going to get the benefit of being on the tack down the front stretch, they're going to be able to roll 1 and 2, probably even a little bit better than us on the outside. But 3 and 4, yeah, I think that outside's much more the place to be for right now.
So the pace car lights go off. They get double file through 1 and 2. Brandon Templeton, that last caution really started with Templeton and Wentz getting together coming off of 4. Brandon Templeton, our winner last week at I-55. So he has an uphill battle as he will restart 13th. They make their way through 3 and 4. Go back to green. It's Nicholas Vickery. A great restart for him as they dive into turns 1 and 2. Lawson looks to make a move on the inside. Unable to as Pomalu will fall back into 2nd. And our second caution of the night will come out. Looks like it's going to be Michael Vitale. And there was just a lot of contact between a lot of cars there on that restart.
Yeah, the track is slick through a good part of the corner. And, you know, like most tracks to go to, there's banking. And you have so much speed at the end of these straightaways. These cars are not like the sprint cars where they have the big wing on the top to kind of be able to help you hook the corner and go around. This is just a really, really tough track to get around in these cars. And the guys, when you get into there, you know, like I said, you got different agendas. You know, some guys that want to back the corner up a little bit and lift early, guys that want to attack a corner. And, you know, it's just really, really tough to avoid that kind of stuff.
So the Stephen King Foundation pace car is back out in front. 4 laps of 30 complete as we're under our second caution of this A main event. Nicholas Vickery, our leader, he finished 2nd earlier in the small blocks. He's got Alex Pomalu behind him, Brian Lawson 3rd, Joseph Grandy 4th, and Logan Wentz currently your top 5.
Yeah, I accidentally ran into Dean there under caution there. I got a little sweat in my eye under my Oculus and was getting it out. And next thing I know, I felt my wheel bump, and I was like, oh, man, a lot to contend with here tonight.
Days of Thunder love tap telling Dean you're there.
Yeah, thunder caution because I'm going to make a move.
So the lights go off the Steve King Foundation pace car.
Yeah, and this is going to be a single file caution, so this should help us get through maybe 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're going to get to follow each other, and you're not going to have anybody on the inside row that might slide up or anything. I do suspect, though, as strong as the bottom has been on these restarts, you might see a handful of guys try to get to that bottom. And I think I would suspect a couple of them will probably get it to work, too.
So the pace car dives in. It's going to be Vickery, Pomalu, Lawson bringing us back to green. And we are under green in our big block A main as they head down the front stretch into turns 1 and 2. Morano's the first one to jump to the inside as he currently runs 8th, as Vickery jumps out to a great start here on this Mission 22 restart. So Vickery, Pomalu, Lawson, Grandy, your top 4. Wentz currently in 5th. He's sitting by himself right now where they run as he looks to gain on Grandy. As Morano's still the first one to jump to the inside for position. Grandy and Vickery currently diamonding the corners to come off the corner low. We'll look back in the field. Currently Morano is trying to make some moves with that inside line as he loses position to Andrew Smith. Now it's Dean Reynolds, John Hine, and Brandon Templeton to the outside trying to make a move on him. Single file for the top 8. As Morano just cannot make that inside line work. It's the outside preferred line. As Vickery continues to diamond the corners, he'll stretch his lead over Pomalu. Now over 1.3 seconds. We've got 22 laps to go in this A main event. And the caution will come out for the 3rd time.
Yeah, Morano was the only guy down there in the bottom. Boy, he sure looked lonely down there, and just nowhere for him to get up in line. And we were really freight training him down there. And that's, this is a monkey see, monkey do world out here on the track. And I guarantee everybody else saw him down there and saw him going back. And I got a feeling that's going to force guys to really not take any chances here and probably run this high line here.
We saw the Malcolm Mills millwrighting replay there. That was contact between Kevin Davis and Gary Singlecow there, bringing out our 3rd caution of the night. That's another appearance by the Steve King Foundation pace car.
I think the pace car's led the most laps tonight.
It is ticking them away at a high rate right now. We've got 9 laps complete, 3rd caution of the night. We saw that last Mission 22 restart. John, you kind of fell right in line with Dean, with Andrew Smith right ahead of him, as the 3 of you run 8th, 9th, and 10th currently.
Yeah, and I had Templeton, and then I also saw Morano on the bottom. So, I mean, and watching Morano go back as a driver, when you see that, and I think I'm a little quicker than Dean, not by much, but a little bit. So, that leaves a guy, with a choice. Okay, do I want to try to make the pass? And, Morano seemed to be struggling, so that discourages it. Plus, I've got to defend. I'm going to have Morano behind me now, but Templeton was there, and I know if I jump out of line, Templeton's got to fill that spot. So, a lot of things to take under consideration and process as you're driving at speed, just to kind of take everybody kind of in the mind of what's kind of going on inside these cars as we circle here.
So the pace car turns off the lights as the Steve King Foundation pace car will dive into the infield this time by. Up front, it's Nicholas Vickery and Pomalu as it's a single file restart. As they jockey for position, that last Mission 22 restart, great jump by Vickery. And he will lead us back to green. Another good restart from him as they get stretched out going into turn number 1. Single file throughout the field on that outside line. Vickery's really found something with that diamonding of the corner as he comes down, cuts down, almost clips the wall, exiting the corner, and he's pulled away from Pomalu here early with 20 laps to go. And the caution will come out. Looks like it's going to be for Butch Baker this time by our 4th caution of the night. Just got in there faster than that car in front of him. And that's our 4th caution, 19 laps to go. Make that 20 laps to go, able to complete 1 lap that green flag run. And that means another appearance by the Steve King Foundation pace car and another Mission 22 restart coming your way.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, these cautions, as a driver, it's really frustrating because you can't get laps in to start to kind of get in a rhythm and figure out, exactly what your car wants and what it needs to get around the track. I think we've at best probably gotten a lap, maybe 2 full laps in, and that's really not enough time to even set a guy up to try to make a pass here. So hopefully we get some green flag run in here before long here.
So we'll go at least 1 more lap around as the pace car still has its lights on. Vickery jumped to the lead early in this one, has then held on since. And we mentioned how he diamonds the corners. You can see the fastest laps, he is he's over 2/10 faster than Pomalu's fastest lap.
Yeah, and the reason why that's such an advantage, when you get up to the corner and you turn down, you've got the car pointed straight. You're actually making the straightaways longer, and obviously when your wheel's not turned, you're going to go faster in a straight line, and that is that's really smart what Nick's doing up there, and boy, I tell you, that gives you a huge advantage.
And it shows in the speed. He's only one of 2 drivers. Grandy has also turned a sub 21 second lap here during this A main. And they make their way through 3 and 4. And Nicholas Vickery takes the green flag. Good restart by Pomalu. Doesn't let Vickery go away completely as they go through 1 and 2. They've got the Butch Baker machine not far ahead of them as well. As the leaders will have to make a move on Baker as they come down the front stretch here, now under 20 laps to go. Vickery's able to clear Baker before he gets to the corner. Now he's got him between him and Pomalu. And Vickery continues to lead down the backstretch, able to stretch his gap, as now he's got Baker between him and the 2nd place car. And there'll be 16 laps to go this time by at Williams Grove. Looking back in the pack. Checking in on our Chip Bangers Hard Charger Award. It's currently the 79 of Andrew Smith. He's up 10 spots. Started 17th, now running 7th as Baker brings out the caution. We'll take a look and see what happened as he was running between the leader and the 2nd place car. Looked like Pomalu and him made contact there. Brings out our 5th caution. We'll check in with our in-race reporter, John, currently running 10th. What's going on back there mid-pack?
Just tough sledding. The track doesn't have enough in it, I think, to venture out and try to pass these guys. So at least from my perspective, I'm working overtime not to run over Dean and the guys in front of me. But there's just nowhere really to go here for right now. I think Templeton though was kind of peeking to my inside a little bit. I heard him over into that corner, so I tell you, if he gets around me and I see him having that bottom work, I may have to jump down there and do that too. And I guarantee you, if people behind start to see it, they're going to catch wind of it. And I'm sure there's some guys up front there that are using their mirrors. And if they see a guy down low and making it work, you're going to see a migration. The guys that are comfortable with running down there, that's where they're going to end up going.
So the Steve King Foundation pace car turns off its lights. We will have another Mission 22 restart with 15 laps to go. As our A main here with the big blocks concludes this portion of the evening. Next up, we will have the super late models presented by Chip Banger Racing. Last week's winner, Dylan Perry, will look to pick up another one in back-to-back weeks. But for the big blocks, we're back to green as there's contact at the start of the field on the restart. Stacks them up from third on. And they will get it sorted out before they get to the corner. But now it's Pomerleau has issues through 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. And he'll go from running second to fourth with a lot of heat on him, including the 18 of Wentz, who's side by side with him at the start-finish line. Lots of action right in front of our in-car reporter of John Hine on that restart, as John's able to get past Wentz, move up to 8th. Wentz continues to have issues getting into a rhythm after that restart, which really got stacked up right at the start-finish line, taking the green. Out front, it's Vickery leading Lawson, Grandy, and Pomerleau now. Vickery with a healthy lead over Lawson, really the top 4 breaking away from the rest of the field. Our current Chip Banger Hard Charger Award is on the number 79 of Andrew Smith. He's up 12 spots, up to a top 5 run currently, as he's side by side with Shannon. So as they currently battle for 5th, we'll jump up and see our leader takes the 10 laps to go. Really diamonding those corners that we've talked about. Let's take a lap around Williams Grove with Nicholas Vickery. And the caution will come out. It looks like it's going to be for Dean Reynolds. Looks like he was already crab walking there and just rolls it over into the corner.
Yeah, something happened. I don't know if that damage he got was on that restart. Something. I've got a black flag for passing before the start. I don't know what happened on that restart. I didn't even put my foot in it to pass. I just, kept my foot steady and then moved down so I didn't get caught up into it. And a lot of guys got jumbled up there. So I don't know if that's where Dean got. I know he was one of the ones that got caught up in it.
Yeah, up about 3rd or 4th on that start. Someone was late to the gas, and it really stacked them up as we went to green on that last Mission 22 restart.
Yeah, and it from back where I was, it was a lot worse than that. It seemed like somebody started and then stopped because we all picked up speed. It looked like everything was all right, and then I mean, well up about halfway down the straightaway is when the trouble, really seemed to happen. Maybe a little bit before halfway down. Just a weird set of circumstances here. I don't know how bad my penalty. I don't know if it's a 10 or 15-second penalty, but whatever it is, I hope we get some green flag runs and can get spread out a little bit here.
And looking through, John, I think I have a Malcolm Mills mill rating replay of that last green flag. As it looked like Lawson and Grandy got together, stacked up the field, and then there's the contact. It was yourself, Reynolds, and Templeton made a lot of contact right there going into one.
Oh wow, I didn't even get a 0x or anything. I had no idea that Templeton or we got into contact there. I look forward to going back and looking at it. Yeah, I tried to pull down to stay out of the way, but that just shows you out here on the track how things happen really fast, and you got to be on your toes pretty much at all times.
So Steve King Foundation dives into the infield. Vickery will take us back to green. Great restart by him this time. He's able to pull away from Lawson, as it's the 242 of Shannon, the first driver, trying to dive down low to make a move. Vickery continues to be the class of the field. Great run by Lawson through 3 there. Closes the gap up on Vickery, but Vickery is able to pull away out of the corner. Single file for a majority of the field around the top of the track. It's going to be 7 laps to go this time by for Vickery. As we see Templeton and Hine battle back in the pack for 8th, and Wentz will join that as well. Templeton trying to make that inside line work, unable to, comes up alongside Wentz. And now Hine will make a move on the inside of Jeff Sharp for 7th. So as they battle back in the pack out front, it's Nicholas Vickery, our leader. He will have 5 laps to go this time by in our big block A main. Now see Grandy trying to diamond the corner a little more than he had been, trying to make a run on Lawson. And our seventh caution of the night will come up.
Yeah, that started somewhere right in front of me. I don't know if Jeff Sharp had to check up for the guy in front of him or whatever, but then I checked up for Sharp, and I think it was just an accordion, and then I got hit from behind.
Yeah, it looks like the 79 of Smith there just was going through the corner, sliding sideways, and maybe the change in momentum stacked it up with Sharp being the next in line.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't see what happened. I couldn't see through Sharp's car, but I could see that he checked up for somebody. I checked up, and just kind of one of those racing deals when you're this close, especially off a restart. And again, I keep reiterating the amount of speed you're carrying into these corners. The center of the corner is not a great place to have to check up.
So the Steve King Foundation pace car is back out on the track. Vickery continues to lead. We've got 25 laps complete. That means 5 laps to go in this big block A main. Reminder, the Coolray Pro Late Model Dirt Series on Extreme E-Speed TV will be here next week, including John Hines. So some valuable laps for you tonight, John, here at this track.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to glean a whole lot because I'll be in a Super. Next week we'll be in the Pros. But, yeah, anytime I get laps here. Like I said, this is my absolute worst track that we go to almost in any car, with the exception of the sprint cars. I just not a fan of coming here.
And then a reminder, the Gears Unlimited Friday Night Lights tomorrow, the 358 Modifieds Limited Lights and the 360s will be at Fairbury. Make sure you tune in and watch the Coast to Coast Racing League tomorrow night as well. The lights turn off the Steve King Foundation pace car. Nicholas Vickery will lead Lawson Grandy back to green. 5 laps to go. And we are back to green at Williams Grove. Great restart again by Vickery. Got Templeton now down on the inside along with Barker trying to make something happen back in the pack. As Templeton continues to work on Smith for 7th. And Templeton will complete it down the front stretch, give it back to Smith in 2, but still be alongside of him and pull ahead down the backstretch. Barker looking to follow him. As it's Pomerleau getting into the wall in 3 and 4, that will bring him back to the pack. 3 wide racing action. Templeton's now raced up to 5th. Up front, it's still Nicholas Vickery for the lead. He'll take the white flag this time by at Williams Grove. He took over the lead early and has held on through 7 cautions. He'll make his way through 3 and 4 for one more time. Behind him, it's Brian Lawson. But tonight, it's going to be Nicholas Vickery for our big block A main win on Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder. John, it looks like you were able to get past Barker there at the end of that.
Yeah, but I'm going to lose those spots. Like I said, that jumbled start, and I could do nothing other than avoid Reynolds, but I still passed them, and so I gotta. I think that's going to probably drop me back, probably all the way to the last car on the lead lap.
Well, as it currently runs,
Yep,
our
18th.
Our chip banger hard charger is going to go to the 513 of Jeffrey Barker. He'll end up 13 spots up to 8th after starting 21st. With that, we will wait for our top 3 finishers to join John and I up here in the booth. Your top 3 is going to be Nicholas Vickery with the victory, Brian Lawson 2nd, Joseph Grandy in 3rd. And John, we'll get started. I think you've got our 3rd place finisher, Joseph Grandy.
And Joseph, this is John. Yeah, up in the booth. You got a copy?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right.
Well, I tell you, you survived and brought it home on the podium. Tell me how you did it, man.
Finally, not getting involved in the caution. That's pretty much how I did it. I seem to have pretty bad luck with that.
Well, I tell you, the track was kind of locked down tonight. What was your strategy as you kind of laps clicked down there and passing was a premium?
It got to the point with all those cautions, I move up a little bit. I got close a couple times, and then caution came out, and then lost it for a little bit. But I couldn't do a whole lot after that. I don't think I had anything for the top 2 either way.
Well, man, a good run tonight. Nice to see you on the podium. Anybody like to give a shout out for your well done well done race tonight?
Just the Coast to Coast League. I appreciate them having me.
Awesome. We appreciate it, and we're glad to have you. That is Joseph Grandy, our 3rd place finisher tonight.
Now joining us, our 2nd place finisher, it's Brian Lawson. Brian, it's Travis up in the booth. You got a copy? Brian, it's Travis up in the booth. You got a copy? All right, John, we'll wait for Brian. Now joining us in Coolray Victory Lane, it's Nicholas Vickery. Nicholas, it's Travis and John up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How are y'all?
Good. Great run for you tonight. You jumped out front early. We saw your line. You were really the only one able to make that work. Can you kind of walk us through what you were trying to do out there?
Yeah, that's the line that I needed to run in the 358. I just didn't have quite enough power to do it. I think last season or 2 seasons ago when we came here, myself and Chapman both found that line, and it's been fast ever since. It's you dive in the corner hard, you lift until you're straight to be able to come off the backside of the corner.
Could you talk about, we had 8 cautions there during that race. Could you kind of talk what that does to you as you're running out front and trying to tick away laps and get a rhythm? But 8 cautions during 30 lap feature, what that can do to you out front?
Yeah, pretty much every caution that come out, I didn't want it to come out because I already had, a second and a half lead. But, I mean, for me, the line that I was running, as long as the guy in second didn't get into me getting into turn one, I shouldn't have had any problems. There was a couple times where Pomalu was really, really close getting into the corner, so I had to dive in a little harder than I wanted to. But outside of that, just because I have to get the car slowed down so much to get it to rotate down the racetrack, that the guys that are running the top, it kind of messes up their line. So if they're not paying attention to the car in front of them, it could cause problems.
So we've got the super late models presented by Chip Banger Racing next. We watched you battle Dylan Perry last week. Do you have anything for Dylan tonight here at Williams Grove?
Probably not. I'm just hoping for a top 5 here in these cars. I've ran with a lot of these guys for a long while now, and I'll just do all I can do to finish in the top 5.
John, it's your boy Stickers. Do you have any questions for him before we let him go after tonight's victory?
Yeah, you don't want to make this next race. No one's going to hold it against you.
I know. Look, I almost posted another picture in the lounge today. I counted my stickers and I've got 22 now. So
show off.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on your win, and I do wish you the best of luck here in this late model.
Yeah, it should be fun. This track's difficult, especially in the late models.
Yeah, I'm already out on the track in a late model, and yeah, it's I forgot that I'm not in a pro, and I got to drive this track a little different. So you better get in here and get some laps in.
That'll work. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, yep. Nicholas. Congratulations on our big block A main feature win. Nicholas Vickery. We'll bring Brian Lawson. Brian, you got a copy? It's Travis up in the booth. It looks like we've lost Brian here. Brian, you got us?
Hey guys, you got me?
Got you, Brian. Great run tonight. Picked up the second place finish. Was there anything you could have done to get past Vickery?
No, he was really doing a great job of getting it wound up in the middle of the corner and getting that run down off. And I just, I was trying to run that line and I just couldn't seem to get it wound down enough, But I was pretty comfortable in the line I was running, kind of splitting the difference between staying high and where he was running. And I was holding off Joe. Seemed to even be picking up a little bit on him. So, I just kind of stayed where I was comfortable. I really didn't think I had anything for Nick. So, happy to finish second.
Were you looking forward to those cautions coming out to bunch it back up, or were you looking to see if maybe a long green flag run might have benefited you?
I could go either way with that, but I think in the green flag run, he was pulling on me just enough where, I needed a restart if I had any chance.
Well, congratulations on the second place finish tonight, Brian. Any sponsors you want to thank before we close up the big block portion of the night?
Absolutely. You guys for putting on the broadcast, Coast to Coast Racing League. I got to give a shout out to my guys at Venom Racing, on Magnum Race Design. Anybody needs a wrap, hit us up on Facebook. And Gears Unlimited, check them out online or on Facebook. And Super Dirt Car Series, got to give them a shout out and thank Dean for coming on board and helping us out this year.
Well, congratulations, Brian. Great second place finish for you tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
That is our top 3 finishers in tonight's big block modified portion of the night. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will have our Chip Banger Racing super late models from Williams Grove Speedway. We will see you back here shortly.
In our industry.
The lifetime parts and labor warranty is pretty awesome. Basically, all the parts are covered, the labor and everything.
When we say lifetime, we mean lifetime, and it's supported with money-back guarantees. And with that, you're getting all qualified technicians that are going to ensure that this job is done perfectly and operates perfectly throughout the life of the unit.
Learn more about our Coolray lifetime parts and labor warranty at Coolray.com. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Welcome back to Williams Grove Speedway. It is the third and final division of Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder. We have our super late models presented by Chip Bangers Racing. They're out for warm-ups here before they get going. We will have our AB&R setup shop qualifying session, heat races, and then the A main, as it looks like we've got 11 cars out here for the super late models today, including our broadcast partner John Hine in that 71. Now that you're out there with a late model, what are you picking up here at Williams Grove, John?
Oh, it feels good to be in a proper race car, but yeah, it's still going to be a challenge. It's still, unfortunately, we're at the same track here, and Williams Grove is just not friendly to these late models. They're difficult to get into the corner, get them rotated, and all that kind of stuff. So look for the same thing we saw pretty much the first two events of the night. That corner entry is going to definitely trip some guys up.
So we have ABR setup shop qualifying. Cars start to make their way out on the track, including Joseph Grandy, Brandon Templeton, Nicholas Vickery, Logan Wentz, a lot of the guys we've seen all night long. Last week's winner, Dylan Perry, not here tonight. Zach Chapman, we saw him earlier in the night. Some late model guys joining us include Kurt Schatzer here, Steven Spies. So as we wait for qualifying times to come in, Steven Spies at the top of the charts, Nicholas Vickery second, Brandon Templeton with a fast time, fourth fastest, or third fastest, right in front of John Hine. Kurt Schatzer shoots to the top of the charts. John Hine, a great second lap, good enough for third fastest. We'll wait for Zach Chapman to complete his lap, as he will not get there. Logan Wentz completes his qualifying laps. Kurt Schatzer still sitting at the top of the charts. In 19.8, Steven Spies second, John Hine third. So with 11 cars, we should have 2 heats.
Yeah, and I don't know if your dad is watching or not, but if he is, we should give a shout out to Andy out there. Is he still down in Florida?
He is still in Florida for work.
Yeah, I saw that they caught the largest python in the state's history down there. I hope he wasn't involved in that.
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a few hours. I'll have to check on that, John.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fine. But yeah, they did that. I came across my news feed today, and I think they said when they unraveled it, it was about the height of a giraffe, the length of it. So pretty big sucker out there.
No, thank you.
Yeah, that's my thought too. Between the gators and the boas and some of the bugs they got down there, I think they even got more bugs than you guys do in Georgia there.
So qualifying comes to an end, and we have our first heat race. Our first heat race, as always, presented by Langton Mechanical. We'll go through that starting grid. It's going to be Brandon Templeton, Jeff Barker, John Hine in row number 2, next to Kurt Schatzer. Row 3 will be Logan Wentz and Zach Chapman.
Unlike my heat race in the big blocks, I got to keep in mind we're going green this time around, not doing the traditional 2 laps.
Yep, the Steve King Foundation pace car will dive in this time by, as John in his Rayburn race car starting on that inside second row.
And the quick time of the night, Kurt Schatzer's out to the outside. Keep in mind, we do invert the fastest top four. Top four will go right to the main, but good news, everybody's got a race tonight. So even if you get shuffled back to the B, all is not going to be lost.
So 8 laps around Williams Grove. We've got late models out on the track to conclude our Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder. And heat race number 1 is green at Williams Grove. Great restart by that front row. It's Brandon Templeton jumping to the inside. He will slide in front of Barker down the backstretch, and it's John Hine falling in line in third. They make their way out of turn 4. It's John Hine on the outside. He'll take second from Barker. Now has his sights set on Templeton out front, as there's now a battle between Schatzer and Barker for third. Chapman will stick his nose up in there as well as Barker gets loose in turn 3. That means Schatzer and Chapman will move into that top 4. Out front, it's still Brandon Templeton. Schatzer and Chapman continue to battle there for third now. Chapman moving to the inside of Schatzer. Side by side coming off of 4. There's 5 laps to go here in heat race number 1. Chapman and Schatzer continue to battle. Up front, it's Templeton and Hine. Top 4 have pulled away. All 4 transfer spots up top, as Chapman looking to better his position starting in that A main. Schatzer will take control of third place as there's 3 laps to go. Brandon Templeton is leading out front as John Hine continues to track him down. He's now got the lead down to half a second. Two laps to go now at Williams Grove in our Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. Hine will move up, trying to find something to get up along the side of Templeton. White flag is out for Templeton. And one more lap in heat race number 1 as John Hine continues to battle, cuts that lead to about 3/10 as they enter turn 1. They make their way through 3 and 4, and out of 4, it's going to be Brandon Templeton, your winner of heat race number 1 at Williams Grove. Your result for heat race number 1, it's Brandon Templeton, John Hine, Kurt Schatzer, Zach Chapman transferring to the A main. 5th is Wentz, 6th is Barker. The starting grid for heat race number 2, presented by Magnum Race Designs.
Yeah, and on the pole, it's going to be Bob DeGood. Next to him will be Joseph Grandy. Starting in that next row will be Stickers, who got another sticker earlier tonight. Stickers next to Steven Spees. Bottom row here tonight, running out the field is going to be Dean Reynolds.
So, John, you finished second in your heat race. What'd you learn, and what are you going to take into that A main?
Well, I don't know how much different the track is going to change a little bit, but I think it was multi-groove. Brandon was running a little bit lower than me. He seemed to get better, do a little better than I did through 1 and 2, and then I was in that different lane also in 3 and 4, and I appeared to do a little better than him there. So I think it's going to be a close race tonight for sure.
So it's Vickery and Grandy going to lead us to green here at Williams Grove in heat race number 2. Steve King Foundation pace car dives into the infield. Vickery and Grandy will make their way through 3 and 4 down the front stretch. And heat race number 2 at Williams Grove is underway. Great start to the race by Vickery. There's contact with Grandy. Vickery is sideways. Spees will come away with the lead through 1 and 2, as Vickery will fall back to 5th.
Wow, I don't even know what happened there. Oh man, I'm watching that replay. Grandy just drove right into Nick coming through there. Got probably a little better launch off of that out of that center than maybe what he expected, and just got right into him.
So Spees jumps out to a good lead with Bob DeGood in 2nd. Grandy stayed 3rd. Then it's Dean Reynolds. Nicholas Vickery is now back behind the pack, but making up ground as he looks to transfer in on his own with a top 4 finish.
Yeah, I think Nick's gonna, maybe get to Dean. I don't know if he'll catch him here. These laps do click off fairly quick, but yeah, he's closing in on Dean pretty quickly here for that transfer spot.
Grandy chases down Bob DeGood for 2nd. Behind him, it's Dean Reynolds, who Nicholas Vickery is chasing down.
And Nick just got around him, and now he's got the guy that got into him in front of him here. So see if Nick can track him down and get some revenge by passing him.
So 4 laps complete. Grandy's rebounded to 2nd. Nicholas Vickery's up to 4th. He looks to continue to make up ground as Steven Spees is making laps up ahead of the field. And Nicholas is cutting into that gap between him and Bob DeGood, with Grandy not far ahead of him as DeGood makes a move on Grandy through 1 and 2.
Yeah, it looked like Randy picked up a big push there, drove up the track a bit, and it really cost him. And now DeGood gets out of shape, and that's going to kill Nick's momentum.
So Vickery's able to get past him, back up to 3rd now. Spees has almost a 5-second lead on the field, so he continues to lead out front. In the final lap, Steven Spees will pick up the victory as long as he can hold on ahead of the field. Down the backstretch for Spees, as Vickery continues to try to chop into that interval with Grandy. He won't be able to get up to him, and out of 4, it's going to be Steven Spees, your heat race victory. We'll pull up the final results. It's Steven Spees, Joseph Grandy, Nicholas Vickery, and Dean Reynolds, your top. And it looks like no B main tonight. Everyone will move on, and we will go into a Flatline Racing Bodies intermission. So John is out on the track.
Yeah, I got a pit speeding penalty coming out of the pits. Barely was going.
So we'll jump in and ride along with you, John.
Okay. Give me a second here, and we'll let these cars pass. And I'm going to go out here behind Steven. And, these cars, the rear ends move around in these cars a whole heck of a lot more than they did the big blocks. So I'm going to pitch it really hard here. And when you get in the gas, that car wants to rotate. That's what throttle control is going to be key here, is you get out here. I'll do this again down here. If you get down to the corner and then see how that car will just rotate with the right amount of throttle. And I got whacked. Thought I was far enough up on the track. Sorry about that, Dean. But so that's where the throttle control, when we talk about it with these cars being paramount, it's in that center of the corner that guys are going to really struggle with. If they let off too much, the car will get off the bars and then push. So that becomes very, very difficult to manage. And here I'm just goosing it a little bit to keep that car rotated. I can't go any more than probably about 50, maybe 60% on the throttle right through here. So see, if I get too much, the car just wants to rotate. So to kind of give you an idea of what these guys are going to be facing here tonight, it's really going to be that right foot. Your right foot is going to probably dictate how well you finish.
So John is currently 6th fastest out there on the track as they make their rounds. Fastest here in the warm-up session is the 72 of Zach Chapman. Steven Speed's 2nd fastest, who ran away with that heat race number 2 victory.
And I got to get out of the bad habit of, goosing the car to pitch it sideways. All of a sudden I'm trying to drive like I was just showing you, which is the wrong way.
So Zach Chapman continues to be the fastest out here. We'll set up those times so you can see those. Chapman, Spees, Dean Reynolds, John Hine. You'll see Templeton back there. And John Hine, 6th fastest here in our warm-up session. That is.
Yeah, but I wouldn't read too much into the times here. Guys are trying different things, and some guys are testing out the bottom, the top. So, yeah, I wouldn't put too much stock into that and who's going to be quick and who's not.
And with that, we will move on to our final A main of tonight's Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder. It's the Super Late Models presented by Chip Banger Racing. Starting lineup goes like this. First, it's going to be Brandon Templeton. Next to him, Steven Spees. Row number 2, John Hine, Joseph Grandy. Row 3, Kurt Schatzer, Nicholas Vickery. 7th, Zach Chapman next to Dean Reynolds. 9th, Logan Wentz next to Bob DeGood. And rounding out the 11-car field will be Jeffrey Barker in 11th.
And I'm looking out my passenger window, and I don't see Grant up there. He just loaded.
As always, thank you for tuning in to Coast to Coast Racing League this Thursday night. Throughout the summer, it'll be Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder, including next week, I'm sorry. Next Thursday, we will be at Lima Land.
Yeah, now that'll be a show. They always put on a good race out there at Lima Land. I can't wait to go.
The Steve King Foundation pace car dives on in. Coming through 3 and 4, it is going to be Spees and Templeton leading the field to green. And our super late models presented by Chip Banger Racing are green at Williams Grove. Great restart by John Hine to jump up there into 3rd on the inside of Grandy. It's going to be Templeton for the lead coming off of 2. Spees falls in line. He'll move to the outside of Templeton. Templeton running the inside line. Shoots up across the track. Opens the door for Spees. As Spees will lead lap number 1. John Hine, Kurt Schatzer, and Vickery all able to get past Templeton after he gets into the outside wall down the front stretch. Vickery and Templeton continue to battle. Templeton settles into 5th. Up front, it's Steven Spees with John Hine right on his tail. 3 laps down of this 30-lap A main as John Hine moves to the inside of Spees down the backstretch. John will slide up in front of Spees coming out of 4. They'll be side by side down the front stretch, and it's Hine leading lap 4 at Williams Grove. Vickery's able to get past Kurt Schatzer, now in 3rd, has his sights set on Spees. As it's John Hine out front. Great battles throughout. Zach Chapman has moved up to 6th. And up front, it's Vickery trying to make a move on Spees. As the top 4 have pulled away slightly, Vickery really working that rear end of Spees, trying to make something work as he moves to the inside. And And Spies is able to carry momentum to keep that position down the backstretch. So they'll settle it in. It's 24 laps to go. It's John Hine out front, Steven Spies second, Vickery third, Schatzer fourth. Templeton trying to get back up into that top four as he's now behind Schatzer. Vickery now working the high side of Spies through 1 and 2. They make contact. Spies keeps it going straight down the backstretch. He'll lose the position, but keep going as now it's Vickery in second. Schatzer right behind him as now they have their looks on Hine out front with 22 laps to go here at Williams Grove. John Hine continues to lead. Spies is now settled into sixth. We'll have 10 laps down, 20 to go this time by. Last lap, Kurt Schatzer was the fastest. He currently runs third, trying to make up some ground on Vickery as Vickery is right behind John Hine through 3 and 4. Looks to the inside coming out of 4. Won't be able to complete the pass this time as it's still John out front with 19 laps to go. Great battle out front with our super late models. John Hine touches the wall coming out of 4. That opens the door for Vickery to his inside. It's going to be Vickery sliding up in front. John will make contact, get back in front of him. That opens the door for Schatzer on the inside of Vickery. Vickery goes from second to first, back to third, all in one lap, and John Hine will regain his lead, and now it's Kurt Schatzer in the 18 behind him. .218 of Kurt Schatzer continues to follow and haunt John Hine now with Vickery right behind him. Great three-way battle for the lead here at Williams Grove. They're side by side going into turn 1 as Schatzer slide up in front of Hine. Hine's able to battle back as he crosses over. He'll get the lead down the backstretch. They'll settle this time by 16 laps to go. Great three-car battle for the lead. It's Schatzer to the inside of Hine now. Vickery right behind Hine down the backstretch. Hine will get into the wall. That'll open the door for Schatzer and Vickery. They're 3 wide down the front stretch. It's going to be Schatzer this time by. Hine battles back on that outside. Make their way through 1 and 2. It's going to be Schatzer, but Hine continues the battle on the inside. He'll make a move through 3, slide up in front of Schatzer, who crosses it back over. Side by side again this time by. 13 laps to go. They're 3 wide through 1 and 2. It's going to be Kurt Schatzer who comes out in the lead. This great battle of Schatzer, Hine, and Vickery is now Hine moves to the inside, sees what he can do down there. Great give by Vickery there as Hine jumps up in front of him. He'll cross it over. They remain side by side for second, with Kurt Schatzer just ahead of them in the lead. And the caution will come out as Hine and Vickery make contact. We'll take a look with our Malcolm Mills mill writing. Great battle for the lead all race long. Vickery goes through, slides right up in front of Hine, nowhere to go. They keep going after that, but the caution does come out.
Yeah, Nick pulled up not happy. I know when he goes out back and looks at that replay, there was absolutely nothing I could do. He went right across my nose.
Great battle for the lead between you, Schatzer, and Vickery there, as Vickery will fall back for that caution coming out for him. He'll try to make his way back up as we've got 11 laps to go in this A-Main super late model event. The lights are off the Steve King Foundation pace car. They'll get lined back up. Templeton, after falling back early, has made his way back up to third. Zach Chapman's up 3 spots to fourth, and our current Chip Banger Racing hard charger is going to our leader, Kurt Schatzer. He's up 2 positions, 3 positions to the lead. Mission 22 restart is out, and we are back to green. Templeton makes a move on the inside, trying to get up to the leader. It's going to be he and Hine side by side. Spees is now back up in the top 5 as well, as he's alongside Chapman. Contact back in the pack should bring out the caution. Joseph Brandy was a part of this one. Got into the outside wall. Wentz got in the back of him and then clipped Vickery on his way by. So we went 19 laps green. The last 3 laps we've had 2 cautions now. As old DW used to say, cautions breed cautions.
Yeah, and it's a lot tougher now. The track is slicked off quite a bit. This one will be a single foul restart since we're under 10 to go, which will make it a little easier. But again, we're in cars that when you get down to turn 1 or in turn 3, you're carrying so much momentum that, you know, just cutting them, especially with no real banking to grab you and do anything with, just creates a real tough situation for the drivers.
So it's Kurt Schatzer out front, John Hine second, Brandon Templeton third. We'll have another Mission 22 restart as the Steve King Foundation pace car will pull in this time by. Kurt Schatzer looks to hold off John Hine and Brandon Templeton to claim victory tonight in this Chip Banger Super Late Model event. We are back to green at Williams Grove. Great restart by Schatzer as he shoots out the front. Templeton, Chapman move to the inside, and it's Hine right behind Schatzer in that eye line. They'll make their way around as Templeton moves to the inside of Hine. Unable to make the pass, Schatzer will take 7 laps to go. As they continue to battle, they'll fall in line. Kurt Schatzer is able to stretch his lead to over a half a second over Hine. As Templeton continues to try to make that inside line work, unable to do so as Hine will hold on to second. The laps tick down now. Will be 5 laps to go this time by Kurt Schatzer, the leader. John Hine second, Templeton third. Chapman gets into the wall in 4. He'll lose a spot to Spees. And this latest Mission 22 restarts really stretched the field out around this Williams Grove Speedway. Kurt Schatzer out front, John Hines second, Brandon Templeton third, Steven Spees fourth. As Templeton continues to try to make that inside line work, but it's John Hine with momentum around the outside, able to hold on to second place. Back in the pack, Nicholas Vickery's been able to race back up to seventh. And we have 2 laps to go this time by. Kurt Schatzer with an over a second lead over John Hine currently, who's got a good gap back to third of Brandon Templeton. It'll be the white flag this time by. Back in the pack, Nicholas Vickery continues to try to chase down positions, but out front, it's Kurt Schatzer with the white flag. He's got one more lap around Williams Grove to claim victory. And he will come out of turn 4, and our winner tonight is going to be Kurt Schatzer for our super late model victory presented by Chip Banger Racing. Great finish. We'll bring up our finishing results for the feature as our top 3 drivers pull around. It's going to be Kurt Schatzer, John Hine, Brandon Templeton, Steven Spees, Zach Chapman. 6th through 11th is Reynolds, Vickery, Wentz, DeGood, Grandy, and Barker. And your Chip Banger Racing Hard Charger Award will go to Kurt Schatzer. Started 4th, ends up 1st. So we wait for our top 3 finishers to join us. And our 3rd place finisher of Brandon Templeton. Hey Brandon, it's Travis up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Travis. How you doing?
Good, great job rebounding back up to 3rd. Could you kind of talk about that start that really set you back early and made you have to battle up throughout the rest of the race?
Well, if you've ever driven like 60 laps on a slick track in a modified and then jumped in one of these things are absolutely vicious. They kind of jump around, and the rear end does a lot of stuff to kind of provide traction. It's just totally different animal, and I was just unprepared, didn't have enough laps to kind of get comfortable before the feature, and just kind of settled in there and able to battle back up. But not a bad finish. I'll take a 3rd and see if we can take over the points lead, hopefully.
Do you feel like there was anything you could have done to get past John or Kurt?
Not really. I mean, once in a while, if you hammered that bottom side just right, you could gain, a decent amount on them. But to do that, the 4 or 5 laps in a row that it was going to have to take to clear them, probably not going to happen. But it was fun racing, and there was 2 lines for most of the race. That bottom was just a little tougher to run.
Well, it was a great run for you tonight with you getting your 2nd straight top 2 finish here in this series. You should move into the points lead next week. Any sponsors you want to thank before packing it up for the night?
I got to thank all the guys on the dirt team, Kurt, Greg, Joe, and Brian, Dirt Track Bank, Extreme Images by Ashley, Big C's Lawn Care, Maley's Makery, you guys for doing the stream, Coast to Coast for putting this on, and everybody watching at home.
Well, great finish, Brandon. We look forward to seeing you again next Thursday.
Thanks.
That's our 3rd place finisher, Brandon Templeton. Now joining us back in the booth, it's our 2nd place finisher, John. John, could you kind of walk us through that battle you had with Vickery and Schatzer, really the first 15 laps of the race there?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Those guys were just getting off the corners more than I did, or better than I did. And I'm going to echo what Brandon just said about running that modified beforehand. Completely screwed me up in this car. It just it handles so much different. I mean, it's apples to oranges, and You know what? For being my worst track and coming home second, you know what? I will take that every day of the week. Not a problem at all with that. Congratulations to Kurt on a good victory. But that was a lot of fun. They're slicing and dicing. He throw, I knew slide jobs were coming when I saw them. I would turn down and drive back by. We had a lot of fun there those laps. I hope it put on a good show for everybody. And I got to say sorry to my buddy Stickers there. He came up and in front of me and it was just at a point where I couldn't even turn down and do anything other than hit him. And I looked back closely at that replay, and there was actually a little net code involved there, but that doesn't matter. We're all friends and whatnot. And Nick did the wrap on my car, and you never want to turn anybody around. And gonna be bummed about that, but like I said, a second and at my worst track, I'll take it.
You made it hard. It wasn't easy for Kurt to get past you. Once he got past you, did you have anything left for him?
No, I didn't, and I knew that it was a matter of time before they could get me. I was just struggling getting off the corners. In fact, I was surprised. Uh, I'm sure Brandon was quicker than me if we were to put lap times side by side. But just getting out of that bottom and me having just that little bit more momentum out of the top is the only reason why I held on to second. But I was probably about maybe a third to fifth place car, maybe even maybe more like a fourth or fifth because I'm sure Nick might have been a little quicker than me. He was early on there, so. I had nothing for him.
Well, it was a great run and it was fun to watch, buddy. Is there any sponsors you want to thank tonight?
Sure, I'd like to thank Coolray Heating and Cooling. Anybody that's walked outside here in the last few days know it's pretty freaking hot outside. And if you're in that Atlanta area and you feel like your air conditioner isn't quite up to par right now, give them a call. They have same day service, so they can come out and help you on out. Once again, that's Coolray Heating and Cooling. Go find them online. I'd also like to thank Nick over at VMR Wraps. He put the wrap on the car. It looks really nice. If anybody wants or needs a wrap, go out to VMR Wraps on Facebook. You can find them there. Give them a like and reach out to them. They'll get you set up. Also like to thank the cruise shop. Go out to the cruiseshopfw.com. Brennan can send you anywhere in the world you want to go. Doesn't cost you anything extra to use a travel agent, and they're a wealth of knowledge to help you get you pointed in the right direction, whatever destination you might want to go to. I want to thank my Gambler teammates. Great group of guys. I'll join them back down there tomorrow in the pits or next week in the pits. It was fun sharing the booth with you here, Travis, and want to thank you for putting up with me. And last and most importantly, I got to thank my wife. She lets me do this all the time, and she's the absolute best.
Well, it was a great run, John. It was fun to watch. We'll bring in our winner, Kurt Schatzer. Since you battled him out there, John, I'll let you interview tonight's winner.
Sure. Kurt, this is John up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, John. How you doing?
You just couldn't, respect your elders and just let me have one?
Nah.
No, it was fun. You threw a couple of sliders on me, and we were able to cross each other over. Walk me through the thought process, because we had another guy up there with us with Vickery. Walk us inside the helmet there when you were faster than me. You knew you were faster than me, but yet you had to defend from Nick. How did you balance challenging me but yet holding off Nick?
Well, actually, Nick threw a slider on me first and got in front of me, and then he started battling on you, which it was kind of rough for me because at this track I kind of run in really hard and charge the corners, like you'd like to say, and if I couldn't get in hard enough like I liked, the car wouldn't want to turn on me. So if I got too close to the back of you guys and anything happened between you and I had to back out of it, I picked a nice push up. But luckily I was able to I don't know if you guys got Dorner back to back or whatever, but it allowed me to suck up on you and get underneath you. And once I got away from Nick, it was just kind of me and you, and we did a couple of sliders. And I was watching the replay back, and I seen you slid up and caught the wall coming in a 4.
Yeah, a little bit. I did that twice. When I got into the gas, it kind of stepped the back out there, and then that's that really killed me. But that wouldn't have mattered. You were definitely quicker than me. So hey, but like I said, I'll take a second at the worst track I go to. So, but once you got the lead,
we made it interesting.
Yeah, we sure did, and it was a pleasure battling with you there, and a heck of a lot of fun. But I tell you, another win for you. You are running for points this season, correct?
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah,
going to try to go back to back here. You got to go back to back. It's a good way to get started here. So, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to for a fantastic win tonight?
Yeah, the sponsor here, Dirt Track Bank. They do a lot to support grassroots dirt track racing all around the country. The boys on the team there, Brandon Templeton, I'd like to congratulate him. He won a modified race there earlier and put it on the podium tonight. He had a pretty good day today. Joe Halter, Brian Dickens, Greg Boydell, Got Your Six Network, Coast to Coast for putting us on, Roger, Preston, you guys up in the broadcast, Andy and Cool Ray for all they do for us.
Well, Kurt, once again, congratulations on a great victory tonight. And I look forward to many more battles with you throughout the season here. And like I said, one of these times, respect your elders. Stay in line.
All right. Have a good one.
Yep, that's Kurt Schatzer, our late model feature winner for the evening.
So with that, John, our Gambler Motorsports Thursday night Thunder for this week comes to a close. That was the super late models presented by Chip Banger Racing. Some tune-in news tomorrow night on Got Your Six Racing Network. We've got the Gears Unlimited Friday Night Lights for the Cool Ray Coast to Coast Racing League. John and I will be on Extreme E-Speed Network on Sunday night with the Light Electric Company Next Gen Series. And then next week, also on Extreme E-Speed Network, we have the Pro Late Model Dirt Series presented by Cool Ray as well. So plenty of racing on all the networks here for the Coast to Coast Racing League. We appreciate you tuning in. John, great run tonight in the late models. As always, it was a pleasure to call the races tonight with you from the booth. Anything you want to say to close us out here at Williams Grove?
No, just thank you to everybody that's tuned in here tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the show and come back tomorrow and watch Joe and the crew on Friday Night Lights and enjoy the races.
So for John and myself, we appreciate you tuning in. We look forward to seeing you again at the racetrack soon, and good night.
This copyrighted broadcast of Extreme E-Speed TV Network is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without express written consent of the Extreme E-Speed TV Network is strictly prohibited. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast.